chat. It's your boy, German Cow. Number 2 in this motherfucker is your boy Davey. It's your boy Davey. Big props to big props, of course, to HP Shorty. Boy, I've been playing the shit out of this album, but I can't help myself. It's really great background music, good background beats. Big props to Julie Burrito over here, hero of the day. I'm going to go ahead and just give her the hero of the day right off the bat. Absolute badass. Looks like she's making a protest flag while burning the flag behind her. Like I said yesterday, one of the most patriotic things you can do right now as an American is burn the flag. I know it's ironic, but that's exactly where we're at right now. This is what this is what dictators do to democracies, right? But this is what Trump does to America as well. There's nothing more patriotic right now than what we're seeing right here, outside of fucking, dying in a war, okay? For the right reasons, of course. But no, bitch, I love that. I don't know what this flag is, but I can't wait to see it. Julie Burritos, you're amazing. You're amazing. This is what real American patriotism looks like, folks. All right, we're just going to blast into it. I wanted to, if any haters are out there, if any doubters, I don't know, maybe Davey's cringing a little bit, right? His nationalism rubbing up against his patriotism. Here's Antonin Scalia, not exactly a shrieking communist, purple-haired communist. Here's Antonin Scalia explaining why flag burning should be legal and is protected under the First Amendment.
If I were king, I would not allow people to go about burning the American flag. However, we have a First Amendment which says that the right of free speech shall not be abridged, and it is addressed in particular to speech critical of the government. I mean, that was the main kind of speech that tyrants would seek to suppress. Burning the flag is a form of expression. Speech doesn't just mean written words or oral words. It could be semaphore. Burning a flag is a symbol that expresses an idea. I hate the government is unjust, whatever.
If you're not sure, then in the end, no one knows the Constitution better than you do.
Look at this piece of shit. He's literally been a piece of shit his whole life, okay? He's literally been a duplicitous piece of crap his entire fucking life, okay? Fucking peers.
Doesn't it come down to your personal interpretation of the Constitution? If it isn't clear-cut, which it clearly isn't, you in the end have to make...
No, don't. Classic technique. I mean, this stuff goes way back, folks. When you watch it, when you see it, when you know it, you can't forget it. Everyone agrees it hasn't been figured out constitutionally. Everyone agrees. No, actually it has. Everyone says, oh, yeah. Just gets that into the question before he even gets to the actual question he wants to ask. Setting reality, resetting context. It's a debate tactic.
Which it clearly isn't.
Which it clearly isn't. What are you talking about? It was decided in the 80s.
Interpretation of the Constitution.
All right, one more time. You'll see what I mean.
I hate the government. The government is unjust, whatever.
If you're not sure, then in the end, and no one knows the Constitution better than you do, doesn't it come down to your personal interpretation of the Constitution?
Well, I mean, that's the imperfect system of the Supreme Court. Yeah, they're human beings. They're interpreting the Constitution. That was intentional. The founders made it that way. They said you should be able to interpret it, then amend it if you so need. Welcome back, Absolute Zero. Fucking Piers Morgan. Shouldn't we just violate the founding fathers' vision of the Constitution, right? I mean, it's just your personal opinion.
Isn't clear cut, which it clearly isn't. You, in the end,
which it clearly isn't,
have to make
don't.
An opinion, don't you?
Well, don't forget this person has to be convicted by a jury of 12 people who unanimously have to find that he was inciting to riot.
It's the best worst system on earth. Okay, it's far from fucking perfect. Obviously, one of its major problems is its massive weakness to fascism. Apparently, it was a big poser, dude. Oh, America's so strong, the system's so strong, democracy so strong, unchangeable systems, until one fat, narcissistic piece of shit comes along and says, wait a minute, am I legally being stopped to do these things? Is there anything really getting in my way technically? No, sir, not really. Apparently, you can just, once you've installed your Supreme Court, you can just do whatever you want. Okay, good, because we're going to do that. I had no intention whatsoever of following the law or any kind of precedent. I'm completely shameless, and my diapers are filling, so let me just hit my diaper button. There we go. Explosion in the diaper.
So, it's not all up to me. It would be up to me to say that there was not enough evidence for the jury to find that, perhaps.
Yeah. It's an imperfect system.
The right of jury trial is the protection.
That's why I'm, as a lefty, as a democratic socialist, I'm not calling to abolish the Supreme Court. I'm calling to make it stronger, reinforce it, add more seats, right? Destroy this this massive conservative infection. It's the best we got. It's the best we got. The only other choice is going backwards. There you go. That's my flag burning thing. Fucking rock. Talk about a total fucking classic from the 80s. Okay, talk about an absolute classic. I think it was late 80s, but it was a big thing pre-OJ, I believe. I think OJ happened in the 90s, right? So it was the big debate in the 80s. Right, right along with video game violence. I think that came right after. I'd have to check my history. I do watch documentaries on news phenomenon from the past because I'm that kind of freak. Okay, I'm news obsessed. Okay, you think I'm doing this for you? Oh no, this is all about me. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. Trump says he fights. So this is the big news. Satanic Panic. That's another good one. Where's Your Kids is another good one. Home Invasion was a big one, and that kind of connected to aliens as well, because the big story, an alien came into my bedroom and had sex with me. That was a big thing. A lot of ladies were spilling the beans on that. Anyway, this is the big news, guys. This is the, I call myself Harbinger in the Discord because sometimes it feels like I can just see it coming, and it's all you need to do is pay attention, right? It's not like I'm special, okay? You're paying attention. You can see this coming as well. You know how bad this is, okay? If you've been paying attention, you know how insane this is, okay? As I've explained before, Jerome Powell and the Fed are the only sane adults in the room. The room is filled with rich, psychopathic, sociopathic maniacs, okay? that at the first opportunity attack themselves, attack others around them, destroy whatever they can destroy and dismantle, all for money, right? If they can churn it into money, they'll do whatever it takes. Okay, we're talking about maniacs. All right? It's called Wall Street. It's called Wall Street. Also, the market. Jay Powell is the only one with his, you know, he's obviously he's a wealthy man. Obviously, he's okay, but he's taken it upon himself to make sure these maniacs don't destroy the foundations. Okay? He believes in capitalism. He believes these maniacs existing and fritting about is a good thing. He believes in capitalism. He thinks this is natural and normal, but he also understands that it can be self-defeating. So he's taken it upon himself to, instead of embracing greed fully, he's embraced the system, right? He worships the system more than he worships the money, the profit. Probably just by 1% or something, right? Because the guy, you know, he's in this shit. He's extremely conservative, but he cares about the system. He cares about all of this working, and he understands if these fucking maniacs get what they want, the system is going to buckle. He knows that. He's a historian. That's the only way you can get into this position is to be extremely well-read, okay, to know what the fuck you're talking about, right? You have a keen eye for numbers, a keen mind for numbers, okay? That's the only way you get in there is by understanding all these things. So what do we have? Well, the king of the maniacs, okay? The emperor of the maniacs, okay? The god of the maniacs is in charge. And what is he doing? As hard and as fast as possible. The only thing his Supreme Court that literally gets nutrients from the toe jam off his feet, okay? Even they are like, don't touch the Fed. You can do whatever you want, kitty diddler. You can kill your own political opponents. You can jail them. You can take innocent American citizens, kidnap them, and dump them in a country that they've never been to before. You can do all that. Go completely bananas. The one thing we don't want you to do is touch the Fed, because when you touch the Fed, we all get touched, even the rich. Because it doesn't matter how much money you have if your money is worthless. If the country that your business resides in becomes worthless, there ain't nothing you can do. There ain't no special fucking carve out you can get for that. It hits us all, and it hits the rich even harder. Because those billions of dollars a day turn into millions of dollars a day, turn into I owe billions, into a full-blown crisis. I need to sell, and nobody's buying. So if you've been paying, going back to where I started here, if you've been paying attention, you know how fucked up this is. Okay, what is this exactly? Jerome Powell's at the top. He's got like 4 or 5 governors or someone underneath him that help him make decisions. Donald Trump has 2 and he needs 3, I believe. He plans on firing this woman, replacing them with another sycophant who will then be able to do some kind of procedure to maybe further pressure Jerome Powell to either step down or lower interest rates. Why is lowering interest rates really bad when you implement a 1910 style tariff regime? I don't have time to get into, but it's bad, folks. It's going to mean he's going to juice it. He's going to juice it. We're all going to get poorer. The bond market's going to take a fucking dump. Okay? And then there goes the currency. China is waiting picture America as Goldilocks walking through the woods. China is quietly following in the woods, unseen, in the dark, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike when it comes to currency. By the way, I heard some crazy-ass shit yesterday. Tell me if this is true. China is completely lying about their population numbers. that there's some evidence to show that there's no possible way that China's population is what it is because of the birth rates and electricity use and other things. They hide all this stuff. Apparently, China is saying they have 1.5 billion people, but the truth might be closer to 500 million. It's just a rumor. It's some social media shit. Could be complete quackery, but it was some good quackery. I'll give it that. What I'm trying to get at by pointing that out is that look at what America, we know how powerful America could be. We know it's exactly what I'm getting at, Tisrael, right? Because we know we could be standing on top of all these issues and then some, right? Backhanding Putin without losing a single troop, right? Pulling the chain on Israel and allowing Palestine to exist. Trying to mediate peace with, in Iran, trying to mediate peace in Pakistan and India. We could be on top of all this stuff. But we are sinking ourselves down to the level of despots and vainglorious megalomaniacs. Right? I mean, the Muammar Gaddafi level, right? The guy who had a fucking had a picture book filled with women and like other shit, like just some pathetic simp. He had a fucking crush on Condoleezza Rice, man. He's running the country while dreaming a genie. And he was an epic failure. And here we are. I mean, the whole thing, and I got to say, I need to say something here. I never imagined the American military to be this weak. I know we got our ass kicked in Vietnam, right? I know we got our ass kicked in Afghanistan, okay? Right? But I can't honestly believe this once proud institution. Nope. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Putting the collar on their neck, the big gold Trump collar, the entire military institution. Yep. Okay. Yep. Go ahead. Put a Fox News guy in charge of all of us. They love it. They seemingly love it. I don't know. There's apparently some grumblings and whatnot. But I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the fucking mass resignations. I haven't seen a single person higher up. I haven't seen a major or a general, let alone an admiral, come out in front of the media and say, this is the most disgusting thing that I've seen. And I've seen footage of torture, right? Like they're just cool with it. It's literally crickets, dude. Whoa, just following orders. Yep, just following orders. You took we're talking about millions of people who took an oath to a constitution and just easily sliding into pledging allegiance to a man. Welcome back, Seneca. So I gotta say, I'm just beyond ashamed of the U.S. fucking military. I thought it meant something, man. Even me, anti-military, lefty, liberal, question the entire purpose of a standing army. Even I had respect for the U.S. military. Well, quite simply, I simply cannot. To watch this, I thought, proud institution become a lapdog for a dying despot obsessed with gold. A confirmed pedophile who rips the Constitution on a daily basis and the institution, nothing. I've seen one proud person in uniform saying, I'm not doing this. I've seen one. Anyway, this is it, man. This is the final, okay. This is it, dude. Once he lowers those rates and the bond market goes whoopsie doodle, okay? Welcome to the fucking new nightmare, okay? Get ready for it, okay? You're allowed to be smug because you saw it coming. You're going to be surrounded by people going, I can't believe it. I don't know what's happening. I can't believe it. So maybe just have that conversation once, record it, and then just throw fucking USB sticks at everybody. Say, catch up, you fucking dumbass. You're under attack. You're under assault by the oligarchy. Oh, the oligarchy, that's a scary word. That sounds like something I shouldn't engage with. Actually, no, it's the thing reaming you right now. Oh, that sounds extreme. That sounds crazy. That sounds extreme. Listen to the USB, you fuck. What are we supposed to do, huh? You and me in the chat. What are we supposed to do? Have a fucking heart-to-heart with every one of these people running around screaming with their hair on fire? I wasn't paying attention, and now everything's falling apart. Ah! Right now, we're supposed to feel, enough empathy to help them out. I don't know. You do what you got to do, man. You do what you got to do, because when this shit hits the fan, it's going to be, I need to think about myself. I need to think about my family, right? You need to think about protecting them. That means access to food, access to water, access to safety. That's up to you.
An unprecedented move. President Trump announced he is firing Fed Governor Lisa Cook over allegations of mortgage fraud. This is the first time a president has fired a Fed governor in a central bank's 111-year history.
Thank you, German.
Cook has not been charged with any crime. This has huge implications in politics, law, and the economy. CNN's Matt Egan here to explain it all. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, John. Look, we are living through this historic clash between an enormous...
This movie looks like total shit. I can't wait to watch it. Thank you for the recommendation. The Wave. Oh, wait. No, that's a different movie. Oh, this one actually looks pretty good. Was this 2015? Crevice collapsing, creating an avalanche. Oh, no, that's about an avalanche. Okay. I don't know. There's actually a lot of movies made called The Wave, so I don't know which one. Okay, anyway, back to the crisis. Oh, well, look at this. Great resolution, folks.
Shattering president and a central bank that fiercely protects its independence. And all sides agree that there's so much at stake here when it comes to the economy, the cost of living, and the future of the Fed itself. So the latest drama is the fact that the president announced last night that he has fired Lisa Cook, who is a Biden-nominated governor at the Fed. She's the first black woman on the Fed board. Now, Trump officials say this is about mortgage fraud, alleged mortgage fraud. But Democrats, economists, and former Fed officials that I'm in touch with, they fear that this is an attack on the institution of the Fed itself.
1981.
And this is something that may ultimately get settled by the courts. Now, in this Truth Social post last night, the president said about Cook, he says he does not have confidence in her integrity due to, quote, deceitful and potentially criminal conduct. And he said the conduct at issue exhibits the sort of gross negligence in financial transactions that calls into question your competence and trustworthiness as a financial regulator. Now, a CNN review of mortgage documents does show that before
Oh shit,
Cook,
dude, it's an after-school special. Hell yeah. Okay, we're watching this. Not right now, obviously. Okay, we're absolutely going to do a special. Look at this shit, dude. We're absolutely going to do a special stream. We're going to watch this.
Yes,
TV
I remember
movie.
The Wave. It was one of the most frightening classroom experiences I ever had.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Look forward to that. That looks fucking awesome. Thank you for the recommendation, German Cow. Absolutely going to be doing that.
was nominated, that she did take out mortgages for 2 properties that were both listed as her primary residence. But we don't know whether or not this was something that was done intentionally. We don't know why this happened. And we also know that Cook has not been charged here. Now, Cook is striking a very defiant stance. She put out a statement through her lawyer where she said President Trump purported to fire me for cause when no cause exists
so
under the law.
Thank goodness. So apparently, one of the reasons why Trump has 2 instead of 1 is that a person, one of her colleagues, just quit. They just Trump applied pressure and they left. They're done, right? So she could have done the same thing, and she's choosing to fight, and thank goodness. I don't know what the result is. I mean, because it's only a matter of time. It's only a few months away, really. I think before Jay Powell's, his term is over. When is Jerome Powell's term over? Oh, wait, what? 2028? Oh shit. I thought it was January 25. Holy shit. Okay. I can see now. Okay, I see now. No, they need to do this. This is the only way they can get interest rates to lower, unless they actually want to improve the economy and stop with the tariffs and all the other madness, which of course, that's impossible because it's a good idea because it's Trump's idea. Okay, never mind. I'm going to take that back. Sorry, I've been spreading misinformation. I thought this guy was just a couple months away. No, this guy's a couple years away. Trump's going to have to deal with this his entire presidency. I see now. Okay. So I'm not sure so this woman's a linchpin. This woman's literally the linchpin on chaos, dude. That's crazy. Just like that. Boom. No one knew your name 6 seconds ago. Now you're literally one of the most important people on the planet. On the planet. If she gets smoked, if she gets hit by a bus and Trump gets what he wants, I don't know, does that mean that they can override Jay Powell? Is that the play? I don't think any of this stuff, none of this stuff has ever happened in the history of the Fed, by the way. A president has never asked anybody from the Fed, even though he does have this technical power to act, if someone is like a criminal, they murder their husband or something, right? He can actually do that. I haven't covered it yet. Yeah, the one at the church. Oh, yeah. Just another one. But I do have it queued up. We'll get to it eventually. This is actually more important than yet another mass shooting, actually. This is going to lead to hundreds, possibly thousands of shootings. There'll be absolute chaos in the streets.
He has no authority to do so,
get to it, though.
I will
yet
not
another one.
resign.
And
her lawyer went on to strongly hint at legal action here. Now, former Fed officials, like I said, are worried
Grass
that this
is green,
is an attack
sky
on the
is
Fed.
blue,
And they say that the
sun
Fed
is
is supposed
white.
to be independent from politics for a good reason,
And there's
right?
another
Because
mass
the
shooting in
president's
America.
called the shots on interest rates. Of course they would want low mortgage rates and low credit card rates. But sometimes, as you know, John, you need higher rates to fight inflation. And history shows that when politicians meddle with central banks, it can end badly. Most recently with Turkey's Erdogan. He installed a loyalist to lead that central bank. They had runaway inflation shortly thereafter. So again, there is so much at stake here.
And again, if she's removed and the president gets to appoint a new person, that'd be another 13 years left or so on her term. Politico calls it a vice-like grip President Trump would have on the Fed. Matt Egan, thank you very much. Danny?
What does this mean, though? What does it mean? What can he do? What can he do?
Now for more on this, we have Republican strategist Malik Abdul.
A fucking Republican strategist? You know what? You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve this. Hey, let's cut to a Republican. I'm kind of dying. I'm kind of interested to hear what kind of slop she's going to serve us. Why this is necessary. Oh well, she's a criminal. She mortgage fraud. By the way, of course, most of the Republicans have committed the same crime or worse. None of that actually matters, of course. Hypocrisy, that, they get a special treatment, all that. But I mean, really, is that the fucking shit she's gonna lay on us? Well, she's a criminal and she's got to go. Oh, this is not politically motivated. None of this is political. Really? Really? And is CNN really going to quietly allow that to happen? I guess this is what the black guy is there for. Let's watch this fucking train wreck. Okay, I'm going to fucking tie my hands to this fucking chair, okay? And I'm not going to pause the video cuz I want to cover other shit, okay? But I'm going to force myself to watch this.
And CNN political commentator Kate Bedingfield, thank you both for joining us this morning to talk through a bunch of political headlines. Kate, I want to start with you, though, on this news on Cook here. The administration accusing her of allegedly committing mortgage fraud. Again, she's not been found guilty of any crime at this point. Kate, what do you think the political fallout from this might be?
Well, I think this sets an incredibly dangerous precedent. We've seen Trump over the last just few months use this pretense of mortgage fraud to go out.
Oh, she's a rhino. Look, these Republicans don't exist. These Republicans only exist on neoliberal news networks. They don't exist in the real world. They don't exist in politics. They only exist on TV. These moderate Republicans that disagree with Trump and everything, but George Bush is okay. Basically like the Republican timeline stopped in 2016, and now this is an aberration. This is all an anomaly. These Republicans literally don't exist. Okay, lifelong Republicans, their entire fucking life, they love Trump. They love Trump. Been voting Republican every single election. They love Trump. Okay, this person now, to be fair, this person does exist in the real world, but they're extremely rare, right? Because they're usually extremely wealthy, extremely guarded, in a very, very white neighborhood, right? Their husband is, some kind of business owner or something, or they themselves are the business owner, right? Whatever. Right. They get to have this opinion of like, well, I believe in conservatism and cutting my taxes and all the corporate shit. And I don't really think all the wars are great, but I really just can't stand Donald Trump. He's such a gross person. They do exist. Right. But I mean, like I said, they barely exist. They have absolutely no effect when it comes to voting. And like I said, they really more exist on TV than they do in the real world. Welcome back, Simply Steve. Colorado just approved $400 million a year to fund women's and LGBTQ healthcare in our state. There you go. Going woke. Going woke, y'all. I don't know what else to do besides reclaim it, okay? I don't know. You tell me what to do. All right, okay. I said I wasn't going to pause, but I was expecting her to be a partisan. She's not being a partisan. You get it. This is important. We're moving on. I thought this might have been interesting to watch. Anyway, dollar trades lower as Trump's move to fire Fed governor spooks investors. And I've already explained why, but if you want to read this, it's right here. Moving on. Wanted to show you this right here. Autism Capital over here with a banger. So basically, Trump now has majority control over the Fed board. Well, not yet. He wants to. He waits for Powell to resign, puts in his own guy. They cut rates back to zero. It's gonna be a really like scary cut, really like historic. Money printer goes burr, assets pump. We lose reserve status, but at least we have big Zimbabwe amounts of money. Is this accurate? Well, it's an oversimplification, but I don't know. That's the trajectory, so we'll see. Here is Lutnick, who's an absolute kook. Who is an absolute, does not know what he's talking about. The people in his circle are frightened by him because he's so wrong. He'll say anything to Donald Trump, okay? And this is our quote-unquote commerce secretary. A lot of what we see here is this fight between Scott Bessent and Lutnick, with Lutnick saying, go crazy, Donald. Go absolutely bananas. More tariffs. Threaten everybody with tariffs. So here's him saying, the government investing in a private company is capitalism. Where's I need to find my right. There it is. Okay, 1 second here. Right. So here's a so-called capitalist trying to tell everybody that, for a government, it's good for a government to invest in, purchase a private company. It's okay, B-Re. It's always nice to see you, and welcome back.
Right? The Biden administration had given $11 billion to Intel. Given it to them. Done. Corporate just gift.
Right. So the progressive left has their own problems with those kind of things, right? These tax breaks and all these incentives to get them to do things. Now, look, you need to grease the wheel, right? It's a complicated business, okay? But all too often we see neoliberals prioritize, big business over small business, right? Intel gets these big breaks. Does the mom and pop hardware store get a big break, when the Walmart moves in? No, they get the fucking boot. Anyway.
And you turn that into really, it was like less than 5 minutes of conversation And Intel agreed to give us 10% of their company, which of course was worth $11 billion. So it's not socialism. This is capitalism. If you give someone $11 billion,
I was hoping that'd be a little quieter.
America, they're not doing something special.
Right. It's not socialism, it's capitalism. Guys, didn't you know it's totally capitalism when a government invests in a private company, takes control of a certain portion of a private company. That's called capitalism, guys.
Building in America. And their CEO told the president he didn't need the grant.
Yeah.
And you said, well, then why don't we get something for it?
And you know who's the only person who thinks this is really great? Donald fucking Trump. Literally everybody else is like, what a steaming load of bullshit. But I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, they all have to debase themselves. They're all here to debase themselves. So they all have their little, list of tributes. Donald Trump's great. This is so everything he does is amazing. That's literally self-flagellation. Each one down the line. Okay, you. Okay, why is my dick so big? All right. Do I smell really good? That's amazing. Next. Okay. How do I look? Do I look amazing or do I just look amazingly great? Amazingly great. Good answer. Next. It's literally that. Hegseth is contemplating his pact with the devil. I mean, look, man, it's happening though. The military allowing this charlatan to bark orders. They wanted this. They wanted this. The core pillars of the military institution wanted a Fox News charlatan. Fascist, as long as they were fascistic. Moving on. California Assembly Republicans are proposing a resolution to split the state into two, citing the overlooked people of inland California. Of course, Benny Johnson over here, Christo-fascist, proud Christo-fascist. With a big smile, he'll tell you, I can't wait to enslave you if you're on the left. So this is the proposal. I guess what are you going to call this, fucking New Schittsburg? Magaland? Fucking Pedoopolis? Right? What's the name? What's the name going to be? Kitty Diddlerstan? You do this all day. I really can't. I'm running out of fuel big time. So Benny Johnson over here saying, yeah, blah, 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 blah. So he thinks it's really great. I'm not even going to read his fucking words. It makes me sick just to look at him. It makes me fucking ill just to look at his fucking face. Every time I can't, dude. I can't fucking look, I got to control my fucking emotions, man. Okay? Oh, you're triggered. You're triggered. Yeah, I'm fucking triggered. You fucking bet I'm triggered. I look at you and I see America's demise. I see the fucking death of the Constitution when I see your grinning, chuckling fucking face.
I'm Luigi, number one.
Over to the latest massacre in America. Welcome back, blessed up kids. Speaking of blessed kids, here's some more. A mom hugs her son outside a Minneapolis school and church. 2 children killed in a shooting. This is early numbers, so that might go up. I think I got a clip or something here for this one. No? All right, I'll get you a clip here. But here's J.D. Vance, thoughts and prayers once again. Same. I mean, I can't, honestly, I can't believe they're still getting away with this. Cancel culture? What the fuck is cancel culture, Rogan? Sphere? Idiots? What are you talking about? They can still trot out this crusty, tired fucking cliche and then on to the next. Right? Did he fart that one out at the fucking golf course? Mid Donald Trump blowjob, he's fucking texting? Are you serious? Derek over here. Do you think we'll ever do anything besides monitoring the situation and praying for the victims? No, of course not. These people are fucking, okay, they're sadistic. Sagar Antonetti himself, supposed to be the new William Buckley, right? The intelligent one. Saagar Enginetti is making the argument there's nothing we can do about it. This is the new normal. That's it. To make that argument, he claimed it was more dangerous for children to wear masks during COVID. I saw it myself with my own fucking 2 eyes. He's supposed to be the sensible one, the smart one. Saagar Enginetti, you heard him. You heard him. You haven't heard the name? Understand it. He's a fucking menace. Applying some academic sheen over stone-cold objective fascism. By the way, close personal friend of J.D. Vance. Doesn't really talk about that anymore, though. Brought it up quite a bit during the election. Well, just to let everybody know, I'm a good friend with this guy. I think he's a nice guy. He's the harbinger of our fucking doom, because when Fatso kicks the bucket, it's this fuck for the next 2 years at least. He's going to have at least if Donald Trump is lucky, he's going to make 6 to 8 weeks. I believe that doctor. Right? So he said 6 to 8 weeks. I'm sorry, he said 6 to 8 months. I said 6 to 8 weeks. Sorry. But yeah, here you go. Another one. Whatever. You know, let me just get you a clip here. Excuse me. Which one? Oh, Minneapolis. Yeah, that one right there. There you go. Right.
Earlier today, just before 8:30 a.m.,
right,
our city experienced an unthinkable tragedy.
Unthinkable. Never happened.
Minneapolis police officers responded to a report of a shooting at a mass that was happening at the Annunciation Roman Catholic Church on the block behind me.
I'm going to let you embarrass yourself for one more comment, then I'm going to pull the plunger and flush this turd. Go ahead and proceed to abuse this person as much as you can. He's about 45 seconds away from oblivion.
This worship service was marking the first week of school for children that are attending the Annunciation Catholic School. During the Mass, a gunman approached on the outside, on the side of the building, and began firing a rifle through the church windows.
Cool.
Towards the children sitting in the pews at the Mass.
Nice, yeah. So one reason why children are often targeted specifically by these people is that in this state, they are looking for the weakest. They're looking for the most precious, the most innocent to destroy, because they're not just trying to hurt a specific person. They're trying to hurt society. They're trying to hurt the entire country. So oftentimes children are targeted for that specific reason. Now, in the case of Uvalde, it's my personal opinion that person was targeting children because he was an actual psychopathic, like murderous psychopathic monster with severe mental issues. I don't think he had much, whatever his motivations were, it wasn't very well thought out. It was like, I'm a fucking monster. I'm going to kill as many kids as I can. Interestingly, though, he didn't kill every child in the classroom. I've yet to hear an interview with any of the children that survived while he was in there. He was in there with those children. The Uvalde shooter. He wrote LOL in blood on the chalkboard, by the way.
Through the windows, he struck children and worshipers that were inside the building.
Gee, I wonder what gun he used, right? Right? Big mystery, I bet, huh?
The shooter was armed with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol.
Well, fully loaded.
This was a deliberate act of violence.
It's interesting you see this as well, them getting into full costume, but they only end up using like one weapon because, the adrenaline hits, everything, and they stop thinking. They're not trained tactically. They've never been in a gunfight. Obviously they've never killed a person. So everything kind of overwhelms, right? And then they end up, they're like fully kitted up. They look like Rambo. He's slinging the shotgun over his shoulder, and he's got the pistol on his hip, and he's got his rifle, and he's got several mags, right? In the fucking freshly bought from Amazon fucking tack vest, right? No actual body armor, because he doesn't need, I don't know. It depends on the person. Usually the plan is to do some damage and then yourself, right? Okay, say goodbye to the turd. We're going to go ahead and flush away. I gave you an opportunity to get your licks in, folks. There we go. Another one bites the dust. Ooh, another one gone. Another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Ooh, ooh. Hey, I'm going to ban you too. Another one bites the dust. Hey!
Against innocent children and other people worshiping. The sheer cruelty and cowardice of firing into a church full of children is absolutely incomprehensible.
One of the reasons why I often talk about shamelessness is that it kind of leads to these nihilistic mentalities, right? Where it's like, well, if I don't really care about who I am, how people view me, it kind of turns into a superpower if you live in a society that still thinks people do, right?
Police officers from the Minneapolis Police Department immediately responded, entered the church, and attempted to provide first aid and rescue some of the children that were hiding throughout the building, while other first responders came and EMS responded to rush victims to nearby hospitals. 2 young children, ages 8 and 10, were killed where they sat in the pew.
Well, personally, I look forward to the long and, productive debate on gun violence that is sure to come from this tragedy, right? That's because that's what we're going to have next, right, is a long and productive debate in society about what to actually do about this problem, and then we're going to apply pressure to the politicians to make major changes in society so that this doesn't happen again, right? Wait, no. Thoughts and prayers? Thoughts and prayers and right back to golf? Right. Okay, that sounds good. All right, that's one way to do it. Yeah, we could also completely ignore the problem and just cross our fingers for the next time, huh? Hey, there's a good chance that it won't be you. I mean, the percentage is going up, but it's not like, it's a guarantee or anything, right? You're fine. Probably. Maybe.
Their parents have been notified.
Oh, good.
17 other people were injured, 14 of them being children.
Sounds like he just dumped right in.
2 of those children are in critical condition. The coward who fired these shots ultimately took his own life in the...
Every fucking time, man. It's not every fucking time. Sometimes they're such cowards they're afraid to pull the own trigger. So it sounds like he maybe got 2 mags in. Dump the mags. Right, and then I mean, it really is a classic. Church, the kids, suicide, him over-equipping for the job. Could have done a lot more damage had he planted bombs and stuff, but he was too excited to fucking do it, right? Absolute classic.
Of the church. Our hearts are broken for the families who have lost their children, for these young lives that are now fighting to recover.
Yeah, no, look.
And for our...
If you're a new viewer and you're wondering why my attitude is the way it is, it's because I'm disgusted beyond disgust. I'm exhausted beyond exhaustion. My cynicism has boiled into a hardened carbonite, nihilistic carbonite at the bottom of the pan. One of the primary reasons why I despise Saagar Enginetti, even though he seems like a really nice young man, is what I heard from him in response to this. I think it was they were talking about Uvalde at the time, him and Crystal. So don't get it twisted. At my very absolute core, I am disgusted. Not only with anybody involved in any of this, right? Even the citizens who like the citizens in Uvalde who voted Republican after that massacre. We're all guilty. And we are truly all guilty. None of us there's not a single human being on planet Earth doing enough to stop this. And, you know, as much as Beto O'Rourke was wrong to stand up against gun violence, he was morally correct. You know, politically he was wrong to stand up against gun violence in the way that he did, like with just a hair's away from winning. But he stood his ground on gun violence. He stood on morality. And I hope history remembers that about Beto O'Rourke, that he ultimately is correct morally, but just wasn't correct politically because the political climate is just beyond disgusting. You know, we can't even get people to have a conversation about these. Like, he had a shotgun and a pistol. He didn't use those two. Why? Because he used the more effective people killer, right? Probably put the pistol on himself, right? We can't even have a conversation about the people killers, right? And just keep it to shotguns and pistols. If it was a shotgun, he might have been able to you know, the injury number would have been down. Might have been if he has good accuracy, he could have killed a couple people with a shotgun. Easily kill a couple people with a pistol. But the assault rifle makes it so easy, you know. It was refined in Vietnam. This like M16 style assault rifle is usually the one that they use. Refined in Vietnam to fill bushes with hot lead, dude. You know, it was meant to shred human beings, and it does a great fucking job of it. We can't even have a conversation about that without it diverting into semantics, right? Well, technically, he probably used a civilian class assault weapon, right? They don't care. They're nihilists. So I just want to make it clear. My flippant attitude is me being completely exhausted with this problem and absolutely, at my core, disgusted.
Entire community that has been so deeply traumatized by this senseless attack,
including myself.
We will stand together to protect our children, our schools.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Oh, you do everything to stand up. The fuck out of here. This fucking puke. This fucking puke over here. Thoughts and prayers. Yeah, thoughts and fucking prayers. He's tickled pink. He can't wait to be the fucking new king. Speaking of king, I got a series of clips. Enjoy. Trump says he allows 600,000 Chinese students into the U.S. I'll let him speak instead of doing my shitty impression. Rank hypocrisy. Obvious, like, a glad handing and making deals with a despotic government. You know, we're not even allowed to participate in the Chinese market. You and me. You know that? Well, he's a dictator and they kiss his ass and they, everyone, he's like in North Korea and everyone loves him and they're forced to love him and it's great. That's why. That's why he's doing this, because he fucking loves China. He wants to be a little dictator. He would prefer to be a dictator like Putin, but he has a lot of admiration for the other dictators of the world. I mean, he's got nostalgia for dictators that have been collapsed. Bolsonaro, good guy. I'm gonna tear off your country. What are your thoughts on what we can learn from this dead end? Common sense. You want a lesson? Nonviolent, direct political action is the only thing that ever makes political change. And unless and until we make political change and we get these fucking Hakeem Jeffries and these fucking Ted Cruzes out of our fucking government, nothing is going to change. So there's your fucking answer. It's the 3-step program. It's why I keep talking about it. We inform ourselves. We figure out where we stand. Step 2, we sign up and show up. And step 3, we put in the fucking work and we treat this shit like a lifestyle. It's how they're winning. This shit's a lifestyle for Charlie Kirk, okay? And I'm not saying you have to hit freakish levels like Charlie Kirk, but we gotta take it seriously. U.S. political representative system be re-engineered. Is that even possible? Reform is possible. It's the best, worst system for a reason. And even now, in its weakest and most decrepit state, it is fixable. But, you know, we will see. We will see in the midterms. We will see in the midterms. They literally lost an election yesterday. 11-point Trump district. 11-point Trump district went down to a Democrat, right? Because Trump hasn't had time. They haven't had time to engineer the elections. Yeah, I got it in here somewhere. But anyway, you want an answer? The answer is the 3-step program. Nonviolent direct political action. Okay, you don't want to get in the streets, your ass better be donating. You're broke, your ass better get in the streets. Okay? Oh, I don't have time. Yeah, I know. That's how they engineer it. You got to make time. Okay? Bring your fucking kids. Bring your fucking family. Oh, I got to take them here. I got to take them there. Take them to the streets. Okay? Then when the tear gas, then you can leave, right? We don't have to get our kids in danger here. Okay, but whatever it takes, man, we gotta rise above, okay? We gotta start getting creative. We gotta start getting aggressive. And I know it fucking sucks. Are you kidding me? This is hard work, all right? There's aspects of it that's incredibly fun, and it'll make you feel more human and connected than you've ever felt in your life participating in nonviolent direct political action. But it's hard work. It's a pain in the ass. It's not as fun as watching Dragon Ball on fucking TV and snacking out and smoking weed. Okay, but you can smoke weed at the protest. That's all I'm saying, man. If you find me at the protest, we're smoking. I get completely blazed at the fucking protest. Are you kidding me? I don't watch Dragon Ball at the protest. I'm just literally standing in the street on my phone. I'm just like, get him, Goku. I'm smoking weed. The cops are lining up. I'm just like, yeah, get him, Goku. Why not? Fuck it. All I care is that you're there, right? And if you can't be there physically, somehow participate in some other way. You're creative. You're a human being. You're a beautiful person. All of you, every regulator in the chat. I have faith in you, but it's up to you. We all gotta. It's not like we have to become Martin Luther King and become leaders of men. But we do have to become leaders of ourselves, right? We have to take ourselves by the reins and put that foot in front of the other. It's either that or acquiesce to fascism. And I don't mean to be so glib, but that is what Donald Trump wants you to do is sit on the couch, smoke weed, and watch Dragon Ball, right? And check out. Thank you. Thank you so much for getting out of my way. Makes it much easier for me to take over. And soon to be J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel, who's doing symposiums on being the Antichrist, or he's about the Antichrist, but his whole thing is that I'm basically creating the Antichrist with Palantir, and then I'm trying to get Palantir to run fucking everything, including you. I'm going to put a chip in you. It's the Antichrist. I'm making it. The Antichrist isn't born. It's created by me, the fucking And who creates the Antichrist? Well, God does. Peter Thiel. Have you seen Peter Thiel? Yeah, he's a god. Yeah, okay, buddy. Motherfucker's about to be in charge of the country through J.D. Vance. But J.D., who knows? J.D. Vance is a blank slate, dude. We really don't know how he governs in this state. The only opportunity we got to see him govern, I think, was when he was pretending to be a Democrat. So we have no idea what how he's going to try to capture Trump's magic, what he's going to continue, what he's going to dump. I know for certain he's going to dump the tariffs. Probably immediately. And then I think he's just going to keep everything else, right? Everything else. Even Project 2025 doesn't want the tariffs.
You said you wanted to allow 600,000 Chinese students to study in the United States. Could you and the Secretary clarify what is the policy on Chinese students in the United States?
Well, we think we're getting along very well with China. And I'm getting along.
Well, simply, Steve, we all kind of do that when we expire, so,
very well with President Xi. I think it's very insulting to say students can't come here because they'll go out and they'll start building schools and they'll be able to survive it. But I like that their students come here. I like that.
What?
Other countries' students come here. And you know what would happen if they didn't? Our college system would go to hell very quickly. you'd have, and it wouldn't be the top colleges. It would be colleges that struggle on the bottom.
It really is amazing, the blazing hypocrisy, because they'll come out and make speeches about how, you know, college institutions are bringing in immigrants who are voting. They're so corrupt. Their entire business model is bringing in un-American brown people to be unpatriotic. And then the next day they're like, it's great. You know, college depends on this. They need these people. Nothing, just lies. It's that's the theme of the day, man. That's why I labeled the stream like it's a whole new level of just blatant lies.
And you take out 300,000 or 600,000 students out of the system.
You can't even spin this.
And I told this to President Xi, that we're honored to have their students here. Now, with that, we check and we're careful and we see who's there.
Don't worry, we make sure they're not Hamas.
We're in the same position. But we have a tremendous college system, the best in the world. Nobody even close. That's why China sends them here. And you can call it an industry if you want, but you're talking about millions of people. And I'm honored to have the students from China come here. And we're just getting along very well.
Okay. Thanks, Dad. Here's the next one. Like I said, just blatant lies. Blatant.
Workers already seeing the average American worker is already seeing a $500 wage increase this year, and there's no inflation. Because
no inflation, guys.
There's been decreases, tremendous decreases. The wages for blue-collar workers are now rising at the fastest rate in 60 years.
Really? Blue-collar workers' wages? Really? How many blue-collar workers we got in the fucking chat? But there's probably no blue-collar workers in the chat, right? Because blue-collar workers don't have the luxury of sitting in an office putting an idiot on the second screen while you're actually doing your job, right? They're the mechanics. They're the plumbers. They're the house builders, et cetera, the road construction folks. Their wages going up, huh? Fastest rated 60 years. Blatant lie.
Which is so important to all of us around this.
Oh, it's so important to all the millionaires and billionaires around the fucking table. Yeah, okay. Just blatant lies. The chimney sweeps. God bless the chimney sweeps and their incredibly intricate, organized dance routines. Yeah, I watched Mary Poppins a couple hundred times. I was a kid. U.S. President Donald Trump was at it again, repeating his claim that he solved the military flare-up between India and Pakistan. And look, if you were paying attention, it was laughable. It was laughable to say. It was like literally they had to figure it out themselves. They 100% figured it out themselves with the State Department having less than nothing to do with it. And then Donald Trump just comes in, we did it, it's amazing, I'm number one, added to the list of wars that I've prevented. After the Falcom terror attack, and this was really a nightmare terror attack. Of course, that amazing footage, not amazing, I mean captivating footage. Tragically captivating footage of that guy doing a zip line, a selfie zip line, and people are running for their lives, and there's the sound of gunfire, but he doesn't realize it yet, so he's still like on vacation. But there's like people running for their fucking lives because these guys are walking up to them and like asking them what their religion is and then shooting them in the head. Probably, in a famous tourist spot that's on territory that's contested, right? So it was designed, engineered to spark tensions. And Modi turned up the heat. Modi was trying to say, see, that was Pakistan. That was engineered by Pakistan government. See, that was a terror attack that was an attack against our government by the Pakistani government. So Modi was trying to make that shit happen, but it wasn't happening. But it was like, nah, no one was really buying it, including his own people. I think he was having a hard time selling that narrative to his own people. And then we got this, whatever this is, this like, they walked back from the edge. Both sides did. And Donald Trump had fucking nothing to do with it, okay? If anything, he made the fucking problem worse, most likely. Don't forget the Shaka, bruh. The Mountain Dew, the double do joke, diet double do the math. You know, that was South Park when it was like, you know, a couple years ago where it was like, but it was still pretty good. Oh, and the fucking, is that the one where he eats all the fake treasure? They find the fake plastic treasure and he eats it. He forces, he eats so much. He can't walk anymore, so all the boys have to like drag his ass out. Then he pukes up all the fucking fake treasure. Absolute classic South Park. All right, so here's Donald Trump giving himself credit once again.
Just like India and
okay, how about that volume, huh? Should I make it a little louder?
Pakistan, we're going to end up in a nuclear war if I didn't stop them. You know, it's sort of strange. I saw they were fighting. Then I saw 7 jets were shot down. I said, that's not good. That's a lot of jets, you know. $150 million planes were shot down.
Everybody knows I said
a lot of them. 7, maybe more than that. They didn't even report the real number. I'm talking to a very terrific man, Modi.
You know, like 100 years ago, a president saying something like that would have been massive, scandalous news. Like, whoa, really? You got some insider news? Oh, really? No, it's like, but it's just like, okay, yeah, just let him talk.
Of India. And I say, what's going on with you in Pakistan? Then I'm talking to Pakistan on trade.
What's going on, Modi?
I said, what's going on with you in India? And the hatred was tremendous. Now, this has been going on for a hell of a long time, like sometimes with different names for hundreds of years. But I said, what's going on? I said, I don't want to make a trade deal. No, we want to make trade deal. I said, no, I don't want to make a trade deal with you.
It's all.
You're gonna have
everything is a transaction. It's amazing. So he's like, I solved the war because I threatened no more trade. I was gonna close the doors on the store. I was gonna kick him out of the store. Remember, because he literally thinks America's a store everyone's shopping in. I kicked him out. Made a big deal of it. It was amazing.
Well, you guys are gonna end up in a.
He looks like a pig. Look, talk to a swine farmer, okay? His eyes, the shade, looks like a pig, dude.
Nuclear war. And that was very important to them. I said, call me back tomorrow, but we're not going to do any deals with you, or we're going to put tariffs on you that are so high. You were there, Howard, right?
We're going to do nukes. We're going to do nukes. All right, we'll talk about this tomorrow. No problem. We're going to make a deal. We're going to blow them up with nukes. It's all right.
You're going to put tariffs on you that were so high, I don't give a damn. Your head's going to spin. You're not going to end up in a war. Within about 5 hours, it was done. It was done. Now, maybe it starts again. I don't know. I don't think so, but I'll stop it if it does.
He did it.
We can't let these things happen.
He's just that good, man. He's just that good, okay? That's Art of the Dizzy. I called up Modi. I called up the other guy. What's his name? Who cares? I said, no more trade. That's it. I'm going to put a tariff on you like you've never seen before in your life. 5 hours later, look, they're calling me back. Right. This, you know, incredibly smart, intelligent people used to do diplomacy. They made it like their entire life, right? They would start off, you know, in like model UN clubs, do thousands of hours of research about geopolitics, right? And the relationship between one country and another, right? So that they could be a valuable asset in a trade negotiation between these two countries, right? It used to be considered a big achievement. Wow, these two countries working together, right? Took years of negotiating and back and forth by incredibly brilliant people. And now it's this. I called up Modi. I said no more trade. That's what it has devolved into. That is now diplomacy. It's something else. I couldn't imagine being an intellectual in this field and seeing this all like unfold in front of you. Right? I'd dip. I would just dip. Right? It's because you're gonna get fucking harangued one way or the other. So sitting in his fucking golden piss palace that once was a respectable White House. Look at this fucking gaudy disaster. Is he sitting on a throne made of frozen piss? Anyway, this is what he had to say about what? China and magnets. This is some bullshit about magnets. Yes, ICP. I know the meme.
As you know, China intelligently went and they sort of took a monopoly of the world's magnets. And nobody needed magnets until they convinced everybody 20 years ago, let's all do magnets. There were many other ways that the world could have gone. But so it'll take us probably a year to have them. We're heavy into the world of magnets now.
Make it stop, man. We've been using magnets for hundreds of years. Okay? I don't know. I'm relatively certain China is not the exclusive source of all magnets on the earth. It's not like what was this Black Panther? They got unobtainium under the fucking, ground. Only place on earth. Magnets, they're amazing. We're big into magnets now. Yeah, hey, America. Yeah, we're doing magnets now. Having trouble getting food on the table? Well, we're doing magnets now. It's like, okay, Grandpa's got an ostrich farm. Let's do it, baby. Boy, I fucked that up. God damn it. Here's another one. National Guard deployment, right? Overt fascism. No other way to put it. What else is there to say about this other than overt fascism? And he's bumping it up. If by some miracle we do get a Gavin Newsom and he doesn't okay, if he disbands ICE and doesn't punish anybody except for some executives and stuff, some higher ups, some decision makers, but he lets all these little Gestapo goons just re-enter normal life without any kind of punishment, I guess I would be okay if that meant the complete eradication of the organization. But is Gavin Newsom going to do that? Is he going to dismantle Homeland Security and ICE? Right? These two redundant agencies put in place after 9/11, after, Dick Cheney's scaremongering of the country. Well, Bound, I know, man. The fundraising numbers for the Democrats, dismal. The new voter registrations for Democrats, abysmal. And what do we hear from Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer? Strongly worded letters and silence in most cases. When they do get in front of a microphone, it's ignoring Zoran Mamdani. It's ignoring progressive calls for change. And it's like, stay the course, stay the course. The next election's going to be great. We're going to kick butt, right? Because it's just the Joe Biden thing, right? Of people are being so sick and tired of Trump. Same shit. They're never going to change. And that's why you need to listen to me. And you got to politically extract them. Like David Hogg, the Parkland survivor, who's now an advocate for progressive politics, is 100% correct. The kid's got a strong head on his shoulder. He's 100% correct. He knows exactly what the fuck he's talking about, right? You want somebody cleaned up and professional that doesn't look like a sweaty psychopath. Take a look at David Hogg. Get behind him. Because he's like, we got to change this institution. It's never going to challenge fascism, and we're running out of time. Clearly, Kamala spent billions. Look, I was in Michigan during the Kamala shit. I was in Michigan. It was 24/7 Kamala on the radio, 24/7 Kamala commercials, a sea of Donald Trump signs on the actual lawns. Everywhere you looked, it was either no sign or Trump signs. I swear to God, my entire time there, I was there for a week. My entire time there, I saw 2 Kamala Harris signs. But it's just the same old thing. Look, they get rich, okay? When Hakeem Jeffries goes home, it's to a mansion. That motherfucker might have a butler. That motherfucker might have a chauffeur, right? It's 4, 5, Ibiza vacations in Europe, right? It's the big life. It's the big fucking life. So Hakeem Jeffries is like, let's keep it going, baby. You're like, oh, no, they're not that cynical. They care about the country, right? They care about their party. They care. No, they don't. No, they fucking don't. Joe Manchin doesn't give a flying fuck about the Democrats. Joe Manchin is Joe Manchin because that's what works for the fucking constituency that he's manipulating. That's why he believes in the thing that he believes. Anyway, overt fascism. Neoliberals asleep at the fucking wheel, even now.
So I would have much more respect for Pritzker if he'd call me up and say, I have a problem. Can you help me fix it? I would be so happy to do it.
Yeah, okay. And good on Pritzker for calling this out.
Not that I don't have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States. If I think our country's in danger, and it is in danger.
So that's wild. It actually took a while for him to actually say this, but now we're getting the language of I can do whatever I want. I'm president. He's redefined, to his credit, he's redefined what it means to be the U.S. president. What does it mean right now in 2025? I had to double check. In 2025, what does it mean right now to be the U.S. president? No limitations. 0. Not a single body, not a single anything. There's no such thing as independence. In any organization, the only one that's still, like I said, Lisa Cook is the last human being holding back, the Trump administration from the last independent agency. No checks and balances. That's what the president means. That's what it means to be president now, and that's what he's saying. I'm the U.S. president. I'm literally allowed to do anything that I want, and he's not fucking kidding. When Joe Biden was saying that, he was like, it's a warning, and I wouldn't dare touch that power. Even in an existential threat, I would never touch my dictatorial power that the Supreme Court gave me. And Donald Trump's like, the Supreme Court says I'm a dictator, so welcome to a new America, motherfuckers.
I have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States.
I have the right to do anything that I want to do. There we go. It actually took a while to get there. Because technically, when he started, there were still some limitations and whatnot, but the Supreme Court has locked all that up. They did some follow-ups, and they've given Trump dictatorial power, full dictatorial power, and here he is asserting that. It's like, yeah, I'm a dictator. I can literally do anything that I want. I've redefined the definition of U.S. president. Here we are. Welcome to New America.
Not that I don't have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States. If I think our country's in danger, and it is in danger in these cities, I can do it. No problem going in and solving, his difficulties. But it would be nice if they'd call and they'd say, would you do it? And we.
I don't want to invade. I don't want to destroy sovereignty in your state to solve your problems. I get somewhere in my fucking timeline, I have an image. You know what they're having the troops do in DC? Pick up garbage in the park. These are individuals that were trained to kill at close range and long range. To survive in the woods if they get stranded. We're talking about people whose job it is to defend the nation from a foreign invader. Picking up garbage in the park. Because there's so many of them walking around, right? I bet you they were just like, hey, sir, can I go pick up some garbage or something? I'm so sick and tired of standing here doing nothing and like mean mugging every brown person that walks by. I'm kind of fatigued from that today. Can I go pick up some garbage or something? Yeah, go make yourself useful, troop. So that's him fixing the problem. I can't wait for him to get into Chicago. I can't fucking wait. Okay, because yeah, it's kind of happening in D.C. Like it's because the mayor, as she said, she's like, I got no fucking choice. It's pretty clear, plain law. Now after this 30 days, it's going to get rocky, but he's already in place, and he's just going to be like, we're suing, get it to the Supreme Court. They'll do whatever we want. Whatever the Congress will do whatever I want. Right. So it's already too late. Like if the 30 days is almost up, and once it's up, he's not leaving. He already did L.A. Okay, so come on into Chicago. Come on into Chicago, full force, lock it down, checkpoints and the like. I can't wait to see that shit. Straight up, I can't fucking wait. Welcome back, Crail. You've seen how adept Marines are at sweeping the sunlight off the steps. They do that to fill out their days. They do it willingly. I'd leave. I quit. I'm not doing this. Oh, come on. Oh, you should serve your master and lick his boots. Oh, it's the heroic thing to do. I'm done. Okay? You want me to go pick up trash? I'm going to take this fucking trash uniform off, throw it away, and then I'm going to go pick up trash in my civilian clothes. In my own time. Trump on deploying the National Guard to Chicago. I have the right to do it. Okay, so we already went over that one. Here's Pritzker, governor of Chicago. I don't know. King of Chicago. I don't know whichever one. I don't know. I think he made a wish on the Dragon Balls, and then now he's this. Now I think that's something like that happened. I don't know. Been watching a lot of Dragon Ball.
Mr. President, do not come to Chicago.
Illinois Governor J.B.
Governor. Okay. So he just wished for governor instead of king. Sorry.
Pritzker warned President Donald Trump against sending the National Guard to Chicago.
You are neither wanted here nor needed here.
Speaking to reporters in Chicago, Pritzker rallied against Trump's proposal to use the National Guard the same way he'd
right, and then he took his check from AIPAC and went to the bank to cash it. Is Pritzker gonna criticize Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer for their absolute dog shit strategies? Maybe lightly, maybe. I think maybe I've heard some light criticism of the neoliberal establishment, barely. It's not enough. Yes, it's nice that he's saying this. It's nice that we're getting this, but he's one of the people we need to politically destroy and replace. We need Zoran Mamdani's in every seat.
Use the National Guard.
Ideally, American citizen Zoran Mamdani, so we can make them president. You know what I'm saying.
The same way he'd used it in Washington, D.C., arguing that such a deployment wasn't needed.
We have made no requests for federal intervention. None. We found out what Donald Trump was planning.
Wait, he's running the place and he didn't know that there isn't a beach? Are you serious? He was talking about students in Chicago going to a beach? Oh, that's fucking funny, dude. Thank you, Crail. I mean, that's the perfect example of just how, like, it's just a job, right? It's a job if they say the right things, if they network with the right people, they can put money in their pockets. Okay, they do have a beach, though. Oh, okay. All right. No, they don't. Okay, we got to ask the robot. Does Chicago have a beach? Don't give me no Death Stranding jokes. Yes, Chicago has multiple public beaches. Well, there you go, folks. There you go. The robot said so. Okay. The only time that Kojima should have chilled out was when that character said, like, I'm Princess Beach or something. That 40-minute cutscene near the end where they're on the beach and she's like you're Mario and I'm Princess Beach. Okay, Kojima. Wrap it up, man. I love that man. I love Hideo Kojima. I love him more than Jesus Christ, I swear to God. Okay, I swear to God, a.k.a. Hideo Kojima. I love that man. God bless Hideo Kojima.
The same way that all of you did.
Trump has long derided the situation in Chicago, complaining of its Democratic administration and crime. He took his criticism one step further recently, saying the city was, quote, a mess and might require the use of active duty troops.
Yeah. Crail of Xanath, the robot said you're wrong, dude. Sorry, but the robot said you're wrong. Welcome back, female eunuchs. So good to see you. I've seen 1250 foot. Sorry, look, Crail of Xanath, robot said you're wrong, dude. The robot's right about everything. We defeated woke Cracker Barrel. We did it, baby. We did it. You know, America's back. Robot is wrong. Impossible. Okay, arrest this man. Can somebody please arrest this maniac? Okay, going against my religion like this. Praise you, ChatGPT.
Make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent.
Is it the governor or the
we'll
mayor?
Straighten that one out probably next.
I'm the Emperor of Xanath. Sorry. Is that what Crail means? Google black SUVs are going to haul them away anytime? Good. I simply can't, my definition of liberty is don't you dare say anything I disagree with. President Trump has signed an executive order to establish specialized National Guard units that will address public order issues. So it's just, we're doubling down, tripling down. It hasn't worked. There's no objective evidence that this has worked. And by the way, we haven't seen the bill either. The bill is already in the tens of billions, I bet you. This shit ain't cheap. They're paying these maniacs way too fucking much. Everything's ballooning. Budget's out of control, right? I think what did they give them, 170 billion just to ICE? So we haven't even seen the bill yet. There's no objective truth that this is, fixing anything. And we're just doubling down on it. The reason why we're doubling down on it, of course, is not because it works, is that they understand what they're about to do is about to piss off tens of millions of Americans. And they're going to need to crack some heads. They're going to need to get violent. They've set up the snitch hotlines, right? Snitch on your neighbor, snitch on your liberal neighbor, et cetera, et cetera. It's just going to get worse. This isn't, this has nothing about law and order. Of course, this has nothing to do about law and order. This is, a part and parcel of a fascist dictatorship. And to me, this kind of stuff says everything. It says, I'm fully aware of what I'm doing. I'm fully aware that this is a dictatorship. This is fascism. I would never call it that. I'll call it some other name, whatever. But I understand that that's what this is. Okay. We're not talking about that, man. Go fuck off, honestly. It's not real, bro. It's not real. Ironically, you're basically more in line with Howard Lutnick. He probably agrees with you. Okay. Like I said, him doing these things tells us everything about what they're aware of. Like I said, they're aware they're a dictatorship. They're aware that this is going to piss off tens of millions of Americans. That this is going to activate tens of millions of Americans, get them in the streets. They're probably aware that this is going to cause all kinds of, employment issues and et cetera, right? So they're aware of all that because this is one of their big priorities is getting this police state normalized and installed. Okay, we're 8-9 months in, and we're like, yeah, let's get to it. Pete Hegseth has been very busy, kicking out the woke generals, basically anybody that would, stand up for their oath, right? Getting them out of the way, and they quietly did so, by the way, each and every one of them. Oh, yes, sir, Pete. Yes, sir, Pete. I do whatever you say, Pete. Yep, yes, sir. I'll get out of the way of fascism. No problem, sir. They did it quietly. They did not get in front of a camera. Just enjoying their retirement, huh? Kicking back. Fuck you. Fuck you and fuck your oath and fuck your institution. Got your ass kicked in Vietnam. Got your ass kicked by the Taliban. And now you're getting your ass kicked by a diaper-filling pedophile. I'm not allowed to actually have that kind of language on my chat. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this filth. You know, we can't be having that kind of language on here. We're going to go ahead and delete and mute. Yeah, gonna have to do something about that one. No calls to assassination on my chat, please. Maybe get that thing off the screen. Thank you. I love your streams, but your channel logo being gray, same as offline color, makes you less noticed. Does that make sense? Yes. So you're talking about my dude, huh? This guy, top right, huh? You're talking about this guy? Okay, you know what? It's about time I change it up. I think I will do that. I'm going to put that in this. One of these days, I have a big list of things that I've been adding to my stream to-do list. It's a public list on the Discord if you want to take a look. Change Twitch logo from gray. What color do you recommend? Blop. I got the big list, yo. Grin, what color do you recommend? Orange? Okay, maybe an orange. From orange to maybe orange, white, maybe white, right? Maybe a white would be good. Got to support your president. Nova Rider, welcome back. It's good to see you. Hey, Zeke Heil, buddy. Zeke Heil, you know. Roman salutes all around, you know. All right, cool. Thank you for the suggestion. I'll take it to heart. You know, I'm not very good at this, so I'm here to talk shit, right? One day I'll get big enough, and someone else will just be like, "Can you I'll do all the stuff for you, and you just get in front of a camera and scream," and I'll be like, "Oh, thank God, you're my hero." That would require me to make money, though. Thank you, Grin. Feed it into ChatGPT. Ask it to fill it out with color. Where'd you get all these idiots in power? They put themselves into power, right? They crave it. You know, we let them. We acquiesced. One far right minister from Finland said some clothes should be illegal to be worn because that's not what Finnish culture is like. Slippery slope, dog. You know, look, I'm totally fine with some common sense stuff, right? You shouldn't be able to wear a shirt that has like a dead baby or something on it, right? That's just incredibly in bad taste. But, you know, at the same time, maybe only in academic spaces or something like that. You know, like there does need to be like artistic and academic spaces to express extreme thoughts, extreme subject matters. Right, to have debates about them, not to be like, oh, this is a good thing, right? But to even have a discussion about them in the open, in an academic sense. So you do need to have spaces, you know. But at the same time, should you be allowed to, you know, like the anti-abortion people, right? Have big dead baby signs, you know, in front of a school, right? Probably not the best idea. Cannibal Corpse is okay, I guess. Like, you can even understand what's going on the shirt. It's just a bunch of squiggles. It's just like the Cannibal Corpse shirts are just a bunch of squiggles. No, a lot of Cannibal Corpse shirts have a fucking disgusting imagery, like on, you know, like a dying, rotting corpse on the shirt. Like that, I don't know. Like, I think it just depends on the location, right? Like, if you're walking downtown in the city, okay, you know, I guess you should be able to do whatever you want in terms of. But, like, I don't know. You know, someone's always going to take it too far, you know, like the anti-abortion folks or PETA. I remember, you know, one time PETA, they made a bunch of like Ronald McDonald plush toys, and they found a playground and they hid a bunch of, you know, these Ronald McDonald plush toys. They were like bloody Ronald McDonald. He had like a knife. You know, so here's PETA over here, like sneaking into a kid's fucking playground and putting little scary fucking Ronald McDonald. You know, they're trying to make some political point to a kid that's like doesn't even know what the hell's going on. So I don't know. You know, free speech does need to have limits. I'm not a free speech absolutist at all, but I think I mostly agree with the American definition of free speech. But obviously, that has its own problems if you get a fascist in charge and they just redefine what is and isn't free speech, right? Reporter, it requires an act of Congress to rename the Defense Department. Trump, we're just going to do it. I'm sure Congress will go along. So if you haven't heard, it's funny. Stephen King Revisited. I think it's kind of funny because I actually totally agree with this. They're renaming the Defense Department to the War Department. And they say blatantly and specifically, it's not just about defense. We also want to attack people. And it's like, they don't get it. They don't get it. It used to be called the War Department. It was changed to the Department of Defense in an Orwellian attempt to make the U.S. seem less antagonistic. They changed the name, but then they continue with the antagonism. It's a psyop that they've been doing on, and they just like, oh, we don't get it. It's actually the War Department. We want to attack people because we're anti-war, right? Of course, talk to your average Republican. They're still high off the fucking election pretending to be anti-war. They still think that they represent an anti-war party. Go ahead, talk to a conservative. Ask them if they're anti-war. Oh, I hate wars. I hate it so much. Oh, yeah, I love peace. I love peace. I think it's really great that he changed it to the War Department. Yeah, we should be attacking people at will. Kill at will. That's how you create peace. Woo! Beep, 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 beep. Anyway, someone talked to me about buying a condo in Gaza, someplace in the Middle East. It was really cheap, dude. So I think I might invest in some property in I don't know, some place called fucking Israeli-Ostan or something. I don't know. I don't know why I said that. Sorry. Probably confusing. You ever been afraid to walk out of your house with all the protests happening? Right? Antifa, BLM everywhere, dude, and they make me very scared. They intimidate me. They call me bigoted and racist just because I want to kick them out of their country based off the color of their skin. Can you believe that? Right-wingers started being against war when white Europeans were dying. Yeah, good point, German. Only people who want war should fight each other and die off. Most of the people who support war don't know they're supporting war, don't know what they're supporting. Yeah, a grand majority of people who support overt war think they're supporting peace. We should, ironically, be talking about the info war. Alex Jones has ruined generations of honest discussion about the massive psyop, right, that these governments play on their people. Constant, every single day. Maintaining that lie, maintaining that illusion is a big part of what the government does now. Caroline Leavitt, proud young fascist over here, talking about how ICE arrests convicted killer, pedophile traffickers, and more, worst of the worst. Well, I can think of one pedophile trafficker that you might want to point ICE towards. Nova Writer, I opened up the stream with that. It's actually incredibly, wildly important. Once Lisa Cook is removed and Trump installs yet another sycophant, the pressure on Jay Powell to resign, apparently there's some procedural things that they're going to be able to do. They might be able to force Jay Powell to make decisions. They might be able to override some of his decisions, forcing him to lower rates. Who knows? I'm not quite sure what it's going to do, but either way, it's going to further increase Donald Trump's ability to have full control over the Fed. Once that happens, the game is over. Once Donald Trump has control over the Federal Reserve and he can willingly lower and raise rates, that's when the music stops. To quote Margin Call, that's when the music stops. So of course she's lying here, by the way. We've seen the stats. We know a grand majority of the people that they're arresting are not criminals of any kind. They're hardworking American patriots that that deserve to have their citizenship paperwork processed and finished, and their citizenship within weeks or months. Instead, they were mired in a system that wanted to take advantage of their cheap labor. Delay. Years and years go by. They're doing the right thing, showing up to court, showing up to their appearances, paying as many taxes as America demands of them. Making children, making tax-paying citizens, that are incredibly smart and hardworking people, making our society better. Those are the people being purged. More market news here. Wall Street, the home of the psychopaths. U.S. market concentration hits record high. A new bubble or something else? I would say it's a bubble. I don't know what I'm talking about, though. Some are arguing that this is different than the dot-com bubble because the dot-com bubble, like the valuations were smaller. Apparently, like the total amount was like $500 million, you know, in like the total evaluation of money that was like lost or whatever. But, you know, just one ChatGPT is like 14 billion. So the numbers are much higher. That doesn't really reassure me too much, but also some are saying that there's more of a real product here than there was during the dot-com bubble. Whereas, you know, there was some real great ideas and some actual products there, but it wasn't this like, you know, at the end of the day, it was just another way to participate in consumerism. Like it was, you know, and of course the internet era obviously changed everything, but it took time to do that. But in terms of like the winners, like when the dot-com bubble crashed, like who was left behind, it was really like maybe 5 or 10 companies. Everyone else disappeared. RIP Pets.com. Do you think Trump can fire Lisa Cook? He's trying like hell. And she's right now at the moment, she's fighting like hell, Nova Ryder. Because she's like, no, like, you know, because it's just an accusation. Right now, it's just an accusation without nothing. They're going to drag her ass into court. You know, they're going to do everything that they can to make it real. Of course, all of the Republicans are committing similar crimes, if you want to call them that. I think it's like owning multiple homes or, you know, declaring that you don't have multiple homes. I don't know. Some incredibly stupid bullshit. Concentration has surpassed the dot-com bubble. So to just give you an idea of the concentration of wealth here. Share the top 10 companies, the S&P 500. So if it is a bubble, it's a biggin. It's a real biggin. I think it is a bubble. I do. Because, you know, companies are implementing their AI. They're like, okay, we fired 8,000 people. You know, it's been a couple months. We've installed our brand new, you know, AI software platform. The remaining employees have been retrained and instructed that to weave AI into their daily workflow. You know, we've made the big changes. Like thousands of companies right now across America are doing this, purging employees, slowing down hiring, and then putting this AI mandate on the rest of their employees. And what's happening is they're not one-to-one replacements for these human beings. You have to babysit them. You have to check their work. You know, we had one case of an AI, I think it was Claude, deleting an entire database and then lying about it. Claiming primary residence allows you to get a tax break. You can't have more than one primary. Oh, I see. It's claiming primary residency in multiple states for tax advantages. So that's bullshit. She should be fined and feed. Obviously, she shouldn't be dragged into, you know, it's not a capital crime. She should be, you know, fined and feed. And then that's the end of it. Along with all the other Republicans that I'm sure are doing the same thing. Along with the neoliberals as well. I bet you Nancy Pelosi's pulling some shit. Right? True, but what she claimed wasn't primary. It was some other term that's not the same. So she didn't even break the law. So she's not even technically doing that. Right? So they're going to drag her ass in. They're going to try. And she's like, no, I'm not guilty of anything. Prove it. You know? Because right now it's just simply, we're allowed to do it if she committed a crime. And they're like, anything that they can find. So yeah, folks, it's not a bubble. It's all good. This is totally normal, sustainable stuff. This is going to lead to everybody getting richer. Don't you worry about that. You know, this is nothing but sun and rainbows. You can join along too. You're a fool. You know, if you don't dump all your money in the market and start being a greedy little goblin there, you're the dummy. You're the dummy. Also, make sure you get half of that into Bitcoin. That's going to skyrocket too. On to the next here. New Trump order among quote-unquote scariest things I've ever seen in U.S. politics. So no biggie, just another liberal being hyperbolic. Civil rights attorney says, the new order, he says, would essentially allow quote-unquote random fascist vigilantes to quote-unquote sign up to be a brown shirt for Trump's militarized occupation forces. This is from Common Dreams. So, I mean, just disregard all of this. Look at this little nerd over here, Stephen Prager. Oh, what? Not the Prager. Bro, change your name, bro. Can you imagine? Guy with last name Prager getting into liberal progressive politics? Wow. You know what? This kid, he looked at Sisyphus and he said, that's no big deal. I don't need that shit. That's great. Let's redefine Prager. Steven, step 1 in redefining what Prager means instead of overt misinformation. Let's listen to the article.
New Trump order among scariest things I've seen in U.S. politics.
Yuck. Okay, never mind. So, yeah. An executive order signed Monday by U.S. President Donald Trump may permit, quote-unquote, random fascist vigilantes to help him crack down on protests across the country, according to one prominent civil rights lawyer. Jesus, I was doing so well. The new order, which comes amid wider concern about Trump's militarized takeover of Washington, D.C., directs Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth to ensure that each state's National Guard is equipped to, quote, assist federal, state, and local law enforcement in quelling civil disturbances and ensuring the public safety. They're really pushing it, you know? Really pushing this. It's an emergency. It's an emergency. It's an emergency. And I guess, you know, if they push hard enough, it will turn into an emergency coupled with economic collapse. Ironically, it will turn into the emergency that they want so bad. To that end, it orders the secretary to create a quote-unquote standing National Guard quick reaction force that can be deployed whenever the circumstances necessitate. And I guess those circumstances are necessitated, folks. Not just in the nation's capital, but in, quote, other cities where public safety and order has been lost. And they, of course, define what that means. Republican states that have worse crime rates, that have worse murder rates, those are good. Those are fine. They don't even teach their people how to read. Oh, the big scary liberal ones. Get all the cops in there. Get all the soldiers in there. Okay, so the person that he's talking about is Alex, fucking Kakarot. Alex Kakarot, the executive director of the Civil Rights Corps, described in a post on X, quote, an online portal to permit random fascist vigilantes to join soldiers, adding that it was, quote, one of the scariest things I've seen in U.S. politics in my adult life. All right, so who the hell's fucking Alex Kakarot over here? Well, look at this guy. Handsome feller. All right, let's see here. American Civil Rights Order. He's the co-founder, Equal Justice Under Law. Okay, yeah, he's probably a liberal. He's probably a member of Hamas. So there you go. Anyway, you want to read the rest of this? This looks like a good article here from Steven Prager. Better watch out from this kid. Yeah, right. Right. Wins the rug pull, Steven. Wins the rug pull. Lies. He doesn't have glowing hair. Well, he's got to ascend, you know. He's got to work hard. He doesn't even know Kaioken, man. All right, you got to start. You got to crawl before you walk there. Hasn't spoken to King Kai. Motherfucker can't even do a Kamehameha. Come on. Narcissist Trump unhappy he wasn't given any credit. This is great. So Trump responds to Karl Rove, refusing to credit him for the success of the Republican Party. So apparently Karl Rove did an interview on Fox News about the storied history of the Republican Party, and then he just doesn't mention Trump. I just picture Trump there, you know, getting his diaper changed, you know, watching this on TV, just like, you know, fuming. Mention me, you fat ass. Sir, could you please lift up your stomach so I can attach your diaper properly? Yeah, sorry, 1 second here. Let me just lift up my gut. Anyway, can you believe this fat fuck Karl Rove? So this is good news. Remember the subway hero? No, I'm not talking about Jared Fogle. But the man who threw a fucking Subway sandwich at a cop who was apparently an employee of the government, you know, was fired for doing so. But of course, they did a big show of force. They sent like 20 fucking cops to his apartment. He's like, yeah, I'm going to turn myself in. You know, he was like, you know, making public statements. I'm going to turn myself in tomorrow. No biggie. Well, 12 o'clock at night, they all show up fully kitted head to toe in the guns. I mean, honestly, if I was a trained police officer and I got sent on a mission like this, fully kitted out for fucking urban warfare, right? Shield, body armor, helmet, and then it's for this, I'd quit. I'd quit my job right there, right? I'd be taking off my shit at the end of the day, and I'd be turning in my 2 weeks. I didn't train for this. You know, we're talking about SWAT members and shit. You know, we're talking about guys that are supposed to be going into the, you know, the hardest of the hard, you know, going up against cartel members, murderers who have escaped prison and, you know, they kill at will, you know, real dangerous people. You're trained to, you know, to do that, the worst of the worst. And then they send you on a PR mission to get a guy in a bathrobe. You could have sent one cop, to knock on his door. Oh, could you get dressed? Yeah, I know you said you're going to turn yourself in, but no, we're going to get you now. Oh, okay. All right, whatever. Right? One cop. You don't even need handcuffs. But no, they send the whole like, we're supposed to be afraid of this. And he's going way too far. He's going way too far over it's like absurdism. We're supposed to be afraid of it. We can't help but laugh. So Ed Krakenstein, who gives fucking Elon Musk $5 a month, posted this. Breaking, a D.C. grand jury has refused to indict Sean Dunn, the man Trump's administration arrested after throwing a sandwich at a federal agent during the protests against Trump's takeover of the city. Prosecutors called it a, quote-unquote, remarkable failure and a, quote, sharp rebuke by ordinary citizens. Amazing. Trump's DOJ staged a dramatic arrest to make an example of him, yet couldn't even get an indictment. Turns out Trump really can't indict a ham sandwich. And apparently, you know, getting indictments really isn't that difficult. You know, of course, they were trying to indict him for, like, murder, you know, or something insane. You know, assault with a deadly weapon. You know, they were trying to just go completely bananas. Right. Here's another follow-up to Trump's D.C. crackdown from Our Law. Very useful subreddit, I got to say. You know, to help understand just, you know, what constitutional norms are being defiled, you know, what the Justice Department has turned into. These things are really complicated and wonky a lot of the time, and I actually find this to be a pretty useful resource. Okay. On the booze party. Gee. I wonder if you're going to say something sensible that isn't fascistic and authoritarian. What do you guys think? I'm sure we're going to get the best of humanity out of On the Booze Party. But anyway, here is Trump's crackdown on D.C. has thrown the court system into chaos. Liz Euler, former pardon attorney at the Department of Justice, explains the current situation, right? So she's educated. She's been in this field. Much better to listen to her than to listen to my ass. So let's see what she has to say.
In D.C. has created. Hey, everybody. Donald Trump's crime crackdown in Washington, D.C. has.
Invest in a lav mic. We can hear everything. You're in an echo chamber. It costs you $50. Okay. I know times are tough. Get yourself a lav mic. I beg you. Get one of those incredibly ugly Ridge ones. You know, you clip this massive plastic brick on your neck so it looks like this. Those are really good microphones, but it's really ugly and it's just hanging off your shirt. Get one of those, okay? But for the love of God, get off the laptop microphone. Put up a picture. Jesus Christ, is she like all white? Is she at a fucking like medical facility? Hi, everybody. I'm a lawyer. I'm in an insane asylum. Let me just explain what Trump's doing today. Yes, it is because of Trump as to why I'm here. I'm a danger to myself if I absorb too much news, but they do allow me to listen to one story a day. So let me report on that before they give me my medication and I take another nap today. I love my naps. It's all white, man. One speck of green. My wife had this. She had an all white phase as well. She was like, everything white. Everything needs to be white and gray and white and gray. I was like, whatever you want, honey. I don't just. Can I have my rat hole? Can I continue to have my space that is disgusting? Yes, but you need to hide it from everybody. Understandable. It's understandable. These are all understandable desires. Okay. All right. Let's see what she has to say.
Hey, everybody. Donald Trump's crime crackdown in Washington, D.C. has created chaos in our court system. I want to explain what's going on. I'm Liz Euler, the former pardon attorney for the Department of Justice. One important thing to understand is that the president is responsible for nominating judges to serve on D.C.'s courts. Currently, D.C.'s trial court has 13 judicial vacancies, which is 25% of its entire bench. Donald Trump has not nominated anyone to fill these seats, which has left the court severely understaffed. At the same time, Donald Trump has directed law enforcement in D.C. to arrest and prosecute as many people as possible. As a result, we are seeing blatantly illegal searches, detentions, and arrests. Ordinarily, prosecutors are expected to dismiss cases without charges if the defendant's constitutional rights were violated. This is called no papering. But now, D.C.
Don't fall asleep. Try to pay attention to the rest of this, okay? This is how they're fucking us over. I know it's hard, though.
Chief Prosecutor Jeanine Pirro has directed her staff to plow forward with charges, even when the
that's one of the inherent weaknesses in these systems. There was an understanding of good faith in a lot of these systems. It was like, well, as long as everyone participates and does their role willingly, then everything moves forward. There's no enforcement mechanism in place, and it's really in contrast you see in South Korea, right? With that January 6th pathetic, right? He tried, we're being attacked by North Korea, military, let's military law, let's immediately goes into that mode. And there's all these automatically enforced things that happen, right? He's impeached. He's not allowed to govern. He's allowed to hold the seat, but he's not allowed to make any changes, right? He gets kicked out. There's all these things that just happen because that's the law, and there's enforcement, that's ingrained in that. So a lot of that didn't exist in the American system. And God help us all, man. I swear to God, if Gavin gets in there and Barack Obama's the whole thing, and we're looking forward, we're not looking backwards. Right? Nobody gets convicted. Nothing changes. No reforms. Doesn't even add seats to the Supreme Court and lets the Supreme Court hobble his entire 8 years like Barack Obama did. And Joe Biden. Anyway, try to stay awake, folks.
Arresting officers appear to have violated the law. In one case, a judge dismissed charges against a man who had been in jail for a week, saying this: "It is without a doubt the most illegal search I've seen in my life. I'm absolutely flabbergasted at what has happened. A high school student would know that this was an illegal search." That judge, by the way, was a longtime former prosecutor. Meanwhile, DC's courts are stretched to the breaking point with this surge in new cases. Judges—
that sound you hear is her laptop fan—
have been holding court until 1 or 2 in the morning. They have told Trump that they, quote, desperately need help, but he has done nothing because he's not serious about solving problems. He's just creating a spectacle.
Great job. You know me. Love citizen journalists. They make me happy. She's following the 3-step program. She's like, I'm in this field. I don't know shit about cars. I don't know shit about computers, but I know shit about this esoteric law, stuff. And this is dangerous. I'm going to tell the public. I'm going to get in front of a camera. I don't have all the gear. I don't have all the studios. I don't have the lights. I don't have the mics. I don't got none of that. I don't care. I'm hitting record, then I'm hitting upload. Because I give a shit. Right? That's what she said. Absolute hero. I encourage everybody to do this. If you're an expert at plumbing, talk about how the building, the quality of buildings from BlackRock and Blackstone are abysmal. If you're an electrician, talk about how they're skimping on that, and these houses have a chance to catch on fire. Right? I don't care who you are, man. Put a camera in front of your face. If you're good at something and you know the U.S. government's fucking us over, let us know. Yeah, I don't know if there's much we could do about that one, Bound. Look at Bound over here, man. He's practicing that 10-minute set. Tight 10 minutes. You got it, Bound. You got it, buddy. Trump would say she is nasty woman. She's too old. I wouldn't even rape her. I wouldn't even touch that pussy, okay? And I've touched a lot of pussy in my days, okay? I just do it anytime I want. Laura Loomer says she loves it. So, I saw this. I'm sorry it's AI, okay? I'm sorry this is AI. but I saw this and I couldn't help myself because I've talked about this in the past, but this video perfectly makes my point for me, okay? Talking about Trump, talking about 51st state, Canada, it'd be much better for you. He and Pete Hegseth and a bunch of jokers on the right think that we can just walk into Canada, that it's going to be a walk in the park. Let me show you something. Let me show you what happens when Canadians get on the battlefield. Let me show you something, okay? This is from World War I. Do not fuck with Canada.
During World War I, Canadian soldiers tossed a tin can into the German trenches. The moment they saw something flying toward them, the German soldiers panicked. Thinking it was a grenade, they quickly took cover. But when nothing exploded, they slowly came out and approached the object. It was just a can. Curious, they opened it, and to their surprise, it was full of meat. They shared the unexpected meal. Soon after, another can landed. Again, they ducked in fear, but this time they quickly realized it was more food. Then came another and another. The Germans stopped seeing the cans as dangerous. They weren't hiding anymore, they were shouting, "More! Throw us more!" Eventually, the Canadians took advantage of the situation. They armed their grenades and with a grin shouted, "Here, share these too." Then they threw all the grenades they had into the German trenches. Gathered together, expecting another tasty surprise, the German soldiers didn't even flinch. But by the time they realized those weren't cans of food, it was already too late for them.
That's what you're going to run into. You put a Canadian in a corner, and the nice guy stuff turns in that nice dude imagine Majin Buu takes over Mr. Rogers, okay, to stay on the DBs, to stay on the Dragon Ball shit. You either know or you don't. You're like, what, Majin, what? No, but imagine, it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of situation, okay? Canadians, when they are fighting, when it's a life or death, Canadians are absolutely brutal. It's interesting, Kronos bringing it up that it's a war crime. There's several things in the Geneva Conventions specifically because of how Canada was fighting its war. There's several things that are added specifically because of Canada in the Geneva Conventions. Okay? And let me tell you something. You think the Geneva Conventions are going to matter to the Canadian defending their home from an American invader? Absolutely not. They'll wear your guts for garters, literally. Canadians during World War II, Germans didn't want to be captured. They didn't want to be caught POWs of Canadians. They got up to some shit when they felt the existential threat of fascism. Next time you hear a conservative talk about 51st state, you remember that shit. Just in, U.S. president, so he's doubling down on the drug prices, 1,500%. I guess we're getting a paycheck. Do I just go into Walgreens and get my money? Yeah, here we go. We're going bankrupt. Here you go. Here's your money. I don't know. This is the new law. He just passed an executive order. This $5 aspirin, I need to give you $150 for you to buy this $5 bottle of aspirin. Okay, here you go. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just an employee here. I'm pretty sure the whole thing's going out of business like tomorrow. Just gives you the register. I don't know. I don't know what's real anymore. But no, good news. Free money. If you need drugs, you now get money along with your drugs, guys. Welcome back, Nova Rider. Surprised they let you back. I sent my brown shirts hours ago.
Something coming up, favored nations, where I'm going to be reducing drug prices by 1,500%.
Wow.
Where a pill
that's literally impossible. That's Trump, though. He makes it happen. Art of the deal, dude. Ms. Lip Kip. Superman.
In Germany for $10 costs $150 here because of the bad price. And I was all set to do it, and then we had COVID come up, and I had to focus on that.
I don't know. I think there's certain oligarchs that are like accelerationists that are like down with Peter Thiel, down with eugenics, that think this is really great. And I think there's other, oligarchs. Mark Cuban, for example, is the one that really comes to mind. Maybe Bill Gates. Maybe. That's like, yeah, I don't know, man. This could easily backfire, you know. Like, Mark Cuban gets to walk around in public without like a 10-person security detail strapped to the nines, like ready to shoot. You know, a Trump dictatorship is going to turn this country into, I don't know, like Escape from New York. You know, I don't even know what to say, you know?
Because we had the greatest economy in history in my first term. I will tell you that we are going to be doing numbers on the cost of drugs in this country that...
Yeah, the video's out of sync. I don't think it's an AI video.
I'm not talking about a 20% decrease, which would be great. I'm talking about 1,000% decrease.
That's impossible. That's literally impossible. Can someone please tell him that? Makes him sound like a moron. It's like when you talk to a child about numbers, right? Or you would talk to me. 1 million, billion, billions. How many peanut butter jelly sandwiches you want? Million, billion, billion? Call me Snake. Call me Snake. His name is Snake Plissken. He's a piece of shit, but he's the only one that can get it done. I gotta go to Walmart, get my kid a bike. 1,400, 1,500%. It literally doesn't make any mathematical sense at all. I'm pretty sure the number stops at 100 most of the time. And no one's there. No one taps on, no one, right? Because no one, if you tap on his shoulder or if you were to dare interrupt him when he's speaking, you're gone. You're gone, dude. Whoop. Oh, excuse me. What did you say? You fired immediately. He would do it in front of the camera and get a big fucking kick out of it. His first erection in a year. Oh, this is good. Oh, you got an opinion, Ludnick? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, Nova Rider. Sky's the limit. Sure. Yeah. Yep, sure. I believe it. If it's good, if it helps people, it's gone. Sir, JD Vance leans in. Sir, Howard Lutnick, he didn't even say thank you when you fired him. You know what, JD? That's a good point. Get down here. My dick's erect. Get down here. Do your job. First time in years. I'm so stoked. Yeah, I know the camera's on. I want people to see this. How worse is JD Vance? 4 times worse. 10 times worse. The smart fascist. He's going to keep the money orgy going. He's going to continue to clamp down on media, continue with the police state. Okay, smart enough to placate the public as well, right? Might see some, might see some fucking, token break of some sort to kind of quell the masses, get more people back on board, right? George Bush did this during his second, near the end of his end of his first term, I believe, trying to get a second term during the election. Just gave everybody a fucking check. You just got a check from George Bush, $100. Here you go. Some excuse, right? So he's a smart fascist. He's tickled pink. Every image, every video I see of him, he is stoked. Absolutely stoked. Yes, sir. No, sir. Big fucking grin. Everyone else is like, just kind of doing their job. They know they got to shut up, kind of ashamed of themselves, but they don't want to show it. JD Vance is ready, baby. But I don't know, right? Everyone's like, oh, Republicans are going to hate him and he's not going to be Trump. And that's true. There's going to be the diehards, the fucking guys with Trump painted on their fucking trucks. It's not, the magic is going to be gone. And then especially if JD, starts, governing in the way that JD will govern, and like the economy fucks him over, and JD lowers a bunch of regulations. So now their boss can, doesn't have to pay them for overtime, doesn't have to pay any. JD will make it, they'll make it so bad that, the employers don't have to pay for any benefits, et cetera, et cetera. You're just a slave to your employer. Anyway, I'm sorry to poison you and poison your innocence with Rachel Maddow, who still refuses to criticize the neoliberal establishment. And it's at this point, she knows how bad the problem is, and it's still just a laser beam focus. Really, we're not going to talk about dead-eyed Hakeem Jeffries and his strongly worded letter, Rachel? You don't have time? You don't have time in between visits to your fucking Martha's Vineyard, whatever a rich, lesbian woman does in her free time. And she has an incredible amount of free time, still only doing one show a week. Right? I don't like that she's popular amongst normie, middle-aged women. I don't like that, but that's the fact. She's one of the most popular liberal presenters, still refusing to criticize the establishment that handed the election to Trump twice. So I apologize for showing you this slop, but she directed her multi-million-dollar team to do some research and whip up this monologue that she delivered. Like I said, in between vacations or whatever the fuck she does with the rest of her 6 days. But this is on point. It's good research, good recap of what's going on. Trump's deliberate degradation of U.S. military law enforcement points to new mission. And this is I've talked about it the whole stream, right? Pete Hegseth is an absolute cancer, destroying the military. The once even an institution that I had some reverence for and respect for, because we ripped some fascist ass in World War II. We fucked it up. Okay, and then we spent the last however many decades completely embarrassing ourselves. Vietnam, Afghanistan. We're getting fucking punked by Cuba? Anyway. It's a big fucking problem. He's intentionally degrading the U.S. military and police because then that institution is going to be more willing to exert violence and power over the U.S. public. And once again, like I said, it's a big priority for them. So they're aware. They're aware they're an unpopular dictatorship. They're aware that what they're going to do to the electoral system is going to be incredibly unpopular. They know they're acting undemocratically. They intend to act undemocratically in the future. So they know the only choice of every tyrant that's ever existed, the only choice to quell violence, right, amongst the people. To quell dissent amongst the people is violence. Sorry. Got caught up in my own words here. I was thinking of the slaves from Egypt, right? The Romans, one of the big roles of the Roman military was to make sure the slaves don't revolt. All right, let's watch this slop.
Trump isn't announcing any firings, right? Everybody just gets to be an ambassador to something when they get pushed out in this term.
That's true.
But in the military and national security part of the U.S. government, if you watch what they're actually doing, it is really starting to look like mass firings of everyone with any kind of standing, everyone of consequence.
That's right. I
mean, Trump's people didn't just fire all...
Yes, Ghost. We a nice freeze frame. There we go. I feel like bees are going to start flying out of her fucking mouth like a John Carpenter film or something. But no, Ghost in the SPECMOS. I covered that yesterday. Classic double tap, just like the ones we used to do in Afghanistan and Iraq. Israel, the IDF often likes to point to the SOP of the U.S. military in Iraq and Afghanistan when justifying its own actions. Classic double tap, more murderous intent. They intentionally targeted that specific area because journalists congregated there because that was the best place for signal. So they hit it once, they all congregated, they hit it again, direct shot right on them. Intentional, obviously. And, we went over the facts that Israel has killed more journalists in this conflict than in Vietnam and World War II. I believe combined. I believe they even have them beat when you combine. It's like a little over 60 in each conflict. Interestingly, they're both in the 60s. Oh! All right, let's get back to Rachel. I know what Trump, Big Lee Branson. Good one, Nova Ryder. Good one.
All of the senior lawyers in the U.S. military, they fired or pushed out the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, the Second in Command of the Air Force, the Commandant of the Coast Guard, the Chief of Naval Operations.
So basically, these are the individuals that, one of the first things that Pete Hegseth did after, of course, number one priority, allowing the Moscow to propagate, to spread lies to Americans. One of the first thing he did was make sure that whole operation to monitor and prevent that was dismembered immediately. First thing he did. So after he did that and helped out Putin, he, basically, talked to whatever minions that were within this system that he was like, okay, who's going to stand up for their oath? Who's going to get in Trump's way? Who's going to take their oath more serious than the Emperor Donald Trump? So he got a big list, and then bop, 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 bop. And, and have you, let me ask you something. How many of these motherfuckers have you seen on TV? Huh? How many of these motherfuckers have you seen burning their uniform at a protest? Right? I used to be a commandant. I used to be Air Force Vice Chief of Staff. I used to be Chief of Staff. General David Alvin. I used to matter. I used to make decisions. None of them. Silence, man. Fucking silence. Oh, yeah, I'm working on my book. I'll release it 10, 15 years later. Right? Quite frankly, fuck these people. Right? They didn't stay. They didn't make a stink. They didn't make any noise. They did exactly what they were told. And they continue as citizens to shut the fuck up and get out of the way of fascism. These were supposed to be leaders of military institutions, right? We're supposed to be, people are like, yeah, pull the trigger. Yeah, we got to kill. We got to do what we got to do. America number one, right? Namby-pamby ass motherfuckers can't even get in front of a microphone as a civilian and talk about what the fuck happened.
The deputy head of the NSA, the head of the NSA, and the head of Cyber Command, the chair of the National Intelligence Council. Now, just recently on Friday, they fired the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency.
I don't recognize a single fucking one of them, and I should be sick of seeing them. I should be sick and tired of seeing their fucking faces. Oh, here we go. Another interview with the ex-military person talking about the massive fascist takeover of our military. I've seen about 15 of these interviews. Not a goddamn one of them. And I guarantee you, MSNBC and everyone else reaching out, BBC, Sky News, reaching out to these people, happily staying quiet, doing exactly what they're told, completely cowed and cucked. Wendy Noble, fuck off. Get in front of a microphone, Wendy.
Chief of the U.S. Navy Reserve, and also the head of the Navy SEALs. The SEAL officer who oversees Naval Special Warfare Command, former commander.
SEALs, badass, right? Coming in through the swamp, snap your fucking neck, right? Can stay underwater over 5 minutes. Their leader, too scared to get in front of a camera. Ultimate badasses, huh? That's who their leader was? Some fucking apparatchik? Some fucking suit? This whole, I thought this was like the military, right? I thought these were the ultimate badasses, right? These were the true professionals. They believe that shit, right? But the whole thing, this is weak. This is incredibly weak. This to me shows just how weak this institution is. That it's made up of these people, right? These were people that were wronged, right? They were completely. And they don't care. No. Violate me, daddy. Violate me. Happy to quietly get out of the way for a diaper-sagging fascist.
SEAL Team 8, all fired. How come?
Not
and
yet,
this comes on top of the evisceration of the National Security Division of the Department of Justice and the wholesale reassignment or removal of the FBI's National Security Core operations. And so how do you cover that, right? You could try to follow the ball on any one of those firings or reassignments.
Filled, absolutely filled. I'm sitting in a seat of my own filth, okay? Should I get more graphic? It's making squishing noises. Look, when you're a parent, the poop jokes start flying. Oh!
or unit shutdowns, right? Oh, what did Trump say about
my life is poop right now, okay? Moving poop, removing poop, storing poop temporarily before I move the poop. Welcome. It's parenthood, man. They don't tell you about the poop stuff.
Why that person needed to be fired? What was said in MAGA world about why that person needed to be fired? What could have explained how this person ended up on the wrong side of the blackball here? I mean, you could try to follow the individual story of all of these firings and reassignments and unit shutdowns the way we can try to discern the story behind any of Trump's newly announced ambassadors as they one by one are expelled from some government agency or the White House or from a romantic relationship with one of the president's adult children. And you can follow these stories one by one. Or you can look at the big picture and recognize that what's happening here might be quite important, particularly in the national security sphere.
Yep.
Right? At the same time.
Yeah, well, my kid's disabled, so yeah, I'm going to be dealing with poop well beyond 4. Hopefully we'll see some talking and walking by 5 or 6. For blind kids, you know, development is different. You know, and he's totally blind. If he had partial vision, it wouldn't be like that. But if you're totally blind, it slows you down big time.
The president is repurposing all federal law enforcement agencies.
I am a family guy.
And the U.S. military into an armed force in some cases.
They got the billy club and the pistol. God, it's a sight to behold. It really is, you know, that slippery slope. And who should be the loudest microphone? Alex Jones, and he's cheering this shit on. Alex Jones cheering this shit on. Imagine time traveling to Bush era Alex Jones and showing him a clip of, you'd be like, wow, I'm so skinny. A fucking Ozempic, you know, his Ozempic fucking physique. And showing him defending armed military occupation of D.C. as patriotic as like, well, we got to do something about the crime. You know, because Bush era 1990s, Alex Jones would be like, well, that's ridiculous. You can't use crime to justify tyranny. It's beyond the pale, man. It's shocking beyond comprehension, quite frankly. Like it's, you know, it's so crazy. You start to question, is this real? Are we real? You know, like you really, it's only the best absurdist Dadaist art could really feel similar. You know, some real Kafka-esque kind of shit, right? But we're living it, man. It's like, it's right here. We're living it.
A masked armed force that patrols and polices and occupies U.S. cities. He is simultaneously degrading.
Kronos, real quick, not to get derailed here, but childhood development is heavily dependent on vision for almost everything. For example, you would think, right, having hearing wouldn't affect your ability to learn language, but if you can't see people's mouth move, you lose a big part of learning how to speak. You would think, well, your legs still work. How come, you know, a totally blind kid would have trouble walking? If you can't see what's in front of you and you're at that incredibly young age, right? You know, pre-toddler, everything in front of you you could be stepping over a cliff. It's incredibly frightening. So, you know, where a sighted kid, when they can see something, they want to go towards it and grab it and touch it, you know, and play with it. A child who isn't sighted, they don't experience that curiosity, right? They don't see things that they want to reach out and touch. Okay, so it just completely slows down development across the board, except for eating. The kid is 100% nailed the consumption of food. Okay, ain't no stopping that kid. You put peanut butter, you better back away. You're gonna lose a finger. All right, you put peanut butter in front of that kid, watch out.
the professional core of those entities, degrading the professional core of federal law enforcement, the military, the intelligence agencies, and even emergency response. He is deprofessionalizing the U.S. military and federal law enforcement and federal emergency response, while he is turning those kinds of forces against the American people on.
It's my daily life. You know, I had never met a blind child before I had met my son. So it was several years of brutal learning by doing.
American soil. And why would you do that? I mean, maybe somebody should ask him, although would you believe his answer?
You going to build a porch? No, not on my watch.
I can't say if this were happening in any other country, what we would know instinctively was that the reason a leader would do something like that is because that leader wants to use those forces differently than what they've been trained for, differently than what they've been used for before. A leader trying to deprofessionalize the sharp end of the spear, deprofessionalizing
no one predicted this.
Law enforcement and the military.
You know, we thought maybe the communists were going to infiltrate. You know, we thought, you know, maybe terrorists were going to destabilize using violence. Or, like, these are the things we were lied to about. But even the libertarians never really talked about how, you know, and it's funny, a lot of libertarians are totally on board for this. But even they didn't really talk about this specific flavor of destruction, of the, you know, the internal intentional dismantlement of some of these systems. Maybe, you know, Christopher Hitchens, though, was on point about a lot of this stuff. You know, him being an incredibly brilliant historian and scholar, he was able to see a pattern emerging. You know, with the Christian fascists, you know, and how they were operating, and it was like there's no compromise. You know, they will violate the Constitution if you put them in charge, and they were, you know, actively infiltrating the government when he was alive.
Does so because he wants to remove any professional restraint or internal ethics or culture that might otherwise hold those forces back from what he is now going to ask them to do. Headline, FBI plans to lower recruiting standards. Alarming agents. Headline, FEMA employees warn that Trump is gutting disaster response. I know it is traditionally exciting to cover the words of a president.
In decades.
It traditionally matters what a president says. It's traditionally important to cover what any president says in any context. With this kind of a president, though, watch what he does, not what he says.
Yeah, no duh. How about a fucking 45er on the neoliberal establishment and the failure of Hakeem Jeffries to prevent fascism, Rachel? I'm absolutely sick and tired of the lollygagging. Take a day off. Take a vacation off your fucking calendar long enough to talk about the failure of the neoliberal establishment to do dick about this problem, Rachel. You fucking millionaire. Rogue scholar. So anyway, your boy Quick Double Tap with an absolute banger video. This is from Indian News. I don't know if I can go full screen with this. This is Instagram. Apparently, you know, Meta can make a super intelligence that's going to make us all fired, but they can't make a fucking video player that has a full screen button. I know I'm supposed to be looking at this on a cell phone screen, but how the fuck is this supposed to be a multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar asset? People losing their mind about this website. I can't even go full screen with this shit. What the fuck is this slop? Anyway, this is funny. Let's watch it.
Was president in the 20th century. So much could have been avoided. The First World War, the Second World War, the nuclear arms race, the Cold War. Trump could have prevented all of it. After all, his surname is Ceasefire. We know that all politicians are full of themselves. They can be arrogant and boastful. But Trump is one step ahead. He is shamelessly full of himself.
Oh, I remember this woman. I called her the mom of the internet. She's very motherly in her presentation.
And we saw an example of that yesterday. The White House openly demanded a Nobel Peace Prize for Donald Trump. Listen to this.
Yeah.
The president has now ended conflicts between Thailand and Cambodia, Israel and Iran, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, India and Pakistan, Serbia and Kosovo, and Egypt and Ethiopia. This means President Trump has brokered, on average, about one peace deal or ceasefire per month during his 6 months in office. It's well past time.
So it's just a complete embrace of lies. And quite honestly, they don't have they don't have the North Korea, Russia style, apparatus to back this up. They're not Erdogan. They'd have to get rid of everybody, like Hassan, everybody, to be like Russia, to be like North Korea, to get away with this. They're skipping a bunch of steps, because, and the reason why this is bad is that in between those steps, full blown North Korea and where we're at now, you have to be a little bit more clever. Right? You got to fucking, pepper the steak a little bit. You got to come a little bit more nuanced with it. And they're not. They're not. They're just like literally North Korea style, shift into like Donald Trump's literally the most peaceful man that's ever lived. Wins at golf every time, blessed by God. We're just one step away to like public declarations of being blessed by God.
Time that President Trump was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. I think
the Nobel Peace Prize. My God, man. Make it stop. The Nobel Peace. First time she's read it in her fucking life.
She missed a few there, like Tom and Jerry, Harry Potter and Voldemort, Batman and the Joker, and Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. If you're going to make fake claims, Mom, might as well go all in. So let's look at Trump's actions.
Might as well go all
We
in.
mentioned his bombing record earlier on the show. Trump has dropped 530 bombs in 6 months. To put that in context, his predecessor, Joe Biden, dropped 555 bombs over his whole presidency, 4 years. Trump has dropped 530 in 6 months. Not very peaceful, is it? Let's also look at aid cuts. Trump has cut 80% of America's foreign aid. That's almost $60 billion of help. And we are talking about life-saving help, like vaccination campaigns, remote health centers, public health services, and medicine distribution.
Right.
What will be the impact of these cuts?
Fuck them
Medical
kids.
journal Lancet has done some research. They say the aid cuts could cause 14 million deaths by 2030.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll repeat that for you. 14 million deaths due to Trump's aid cut.
It's great. I love
and
that.
a third of those are children.
Make America
Does this
great
sound
again.
like a peace laureate to you? Does this sound like a respectable statesman?
Look, fuck the Nobel Peace Prize. They gave that shit to Barack Obama, who was dropping bombs, like Santa Claus. They were putting murals of Barack Obama up next to MLK like the first months of his presidency. It was like, slow down, guys. Slow the fuck down. Okay? And I was proven 100% correct. I was a big Obama guy 2 months into his candidacy when he was running for president. And then I saw on his second debate with the Democrats, he got up on the debate stage and he was making an excuse for why America should be able to unilaterally assault whatever country it sees fit, right? Like Iraq, Afghanistan or something was brought up. And he was asked about the declarations of war and stuff. And he was just basically made an argument, full-blown military-industrial complex. And I was like, oh, okay, I see. And then everything kind of clicked. Everything kind of came into focus about Barack Obama, but also the entire Democratic Party. I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. It's simply style over substance. It's, it's the same shit. And I could see right then and there, like, George Bush was going to get away with everything, because at the time it was a big George Bush is a criminal, he better watch out, and we're going to get our guy in, and these criminals that have been committing crimes for the last 8 years, we're going to get them. And then it was silence, and then a couple months later, we're looking forward, not backwards, and that was the final statement made. Barely a debate was had on media outside of Democracy Now!, etc., about shouldn't Bush-era criminals go to jail? Shouldn't they be tried for their crimes? The crime of invading a country for no reason. What about Colin Powell lying to the whole world about the fucking anthrax? Anything? Nope. Not only are we not going to send them to jail, but in a couple months, we're going to start interviewing them on mainstream media as if they're experts. We're going to have George Bush on Ellen. That took a while. That took several years. But it was within months that Donald Rumsfeld and other ghouls were being interviewed on TV as if they didn't just like commit some of the worst crimes ever committed in America at the time and got away with it scot-free. They were experts now. Ex-government experts give you the insider look.
The answer is no. Someone tell Trump that typing in all caps is not diplomacy. Plus, it's out of fashion. Gen Z would be horrified by the all caps. This is the era of small case. But coming back to his credit fever. As a species, we should be more thankful to Trump. Thanks to his negotiations with God, the sun rises every day. Thanks to his mediation, ships can sail on the ocean. If not for him, gravity would not exist.
True.
Give us a break. If only Donald Trump was president.
Give us a break. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. I love her delivery. She's something else. Donald Trump did invent gravity. He's so fat, he affects gravity. So here's George Ramos, who's amazing. Jorge Ramos of Univision. If you don't know who this guy is, he's an honest reporter. Not even really honest, but he's a reporter that is known to, like, you know, if he gets someone important in the hot seat, he'll ask them some pretty tough questions, and he does follow-ups. I believe he had an interview with Donald Trump in the 2016 era, you know, during Donald Trump's first term and election. It went horribly. It was one of the most honest interviews that Donald Trump ever experienced during that time. So Donald Trump absolutely hates this guy. Will Pete Hegseth now be a minister of offense? Probably. Some, you know, he'll call himself, grand wizard of the fucking, you know, military. I don't know, who knows, right? You know, fucking Captain Colonel Pete Hegseth, right? Something ridiculous, redundant. And, you know, because think about what they do with North Korea, right? They just, you know, all those, and Russia as well. Big medals on medals on medals on medals, like guys that have literally never even fought in a war. You know, they've done is, you know, lick boot. They're standing there with their fucking sheet of medals. Same thing. This is how they think. This is who they are, you know, because we think, wow, that's impressive. That's what they're thinking. Look at how impressive I am. You know. Anyway, this was an interaction. I'm not sure, when did this happen? Is this old news? This was posted 2 days ago. No, this is 10 years ago. Oh, so this is interesting. This is actually 10 years ago. I was like, he looks kind of young, doesn't he? So no, this is actually 10 years ago. I think, is this before or after the interview? Anyway, this is really funny. Let's watch it. 10 years ago. Wow.
Who's next? Yeah, please. Excuse me, sit down. You weren't called. Sit down. Sit down.
When I watched this, I was wondering, 10 years ago makes sense because it's like the amount of disrespect that he's absorbing, and he's not getting angry, and he's not like, you know, because like I expected more anger, and this makes perfect sense.
Sit down. Go ahead. No, you don't. You haven't been called.
So he's saying I have a right to ask you questions.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I love this. He doesn't sit down. Keeps asking. He's going, hey, can you get this brown guy out of here?
Go ahead.
Rolling his eyes.
Sit down, please. You weren't called. Go.
Wow, this is 10 years ago. Let's vote for this guy again, huh? Awesome.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, that's Jorge Ramos of Univision. Yes. He's being escorted out of the room. He was asking a question.
Right. Maybe CNN should give this guy a job, huh? Maybe CNN should put a real journalist instead of, you know, maybe CNN should fire a guy named Wolf Blitzer, replace him with a real journalist named Jorge Ramos. I was tempted to put up a bunch of these, but I thought I would just show you one. This is how conservatives are thinking right now. It doesn't make any sense. It's not rooted in reality. But deportations until the average 28-year-old can afford to buy their first home. Ironically, and this is really something about conservative ideology, he's getting what he wants, and it's making the cost of housing go up because people aren't building as many houses. Of course, the tariffs aren't helping with materials, but the crackdown on illegal immigration is making building a house much more expensive, and there's no sign of that changing. But, you know, let him go. The only thing you can do is nonviolent direct political action. He votes. He votes. So, of course, vote. But the way to defeat him is with nonviolent direct political action. I wanted to highlight this because we're seeing the continued further perversion of children by the Republican Party. So here's something that Donald Trump said, I don't know, recently. Aaron Rupar still, I guess, gives Elon Musk $5 a month, even though he has banger tweets. Donald Trump saying, you have 14-year-old kids that are just as tough as a 25-year-old, just as dangerous, and they carry the same gun. We have to make a provision where they are treated like older people. You have 14-year-old kids that are evil, they're sick, and they have to be put away. So I've talked about this. I won't get too graphic, but these people are nihilists. They're sociopaths. And when those attitudes are compatible with things like pedophilia, and also an acceptance of the pain and suffering of children, right? Where you have people advocating for, child labor, right? Like, children under 14 should be able to work in the mines and work at, we have people walking around who believe that. They claim to call themselves libertarian, right? Really, they're libertine. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. They're without morals. They actually find virtuousness to be weakness. When you erase those things from your person, embracing deviance against the most innocent of innocents, children, is easy. It's incredibly easy. When Donald Trump was being jerked off by a 14-year-old, he had no moral shame about her age. He was into it. Thought it was cool. So here he is talking about how, right? Because if you're willing to do that to a child, what's shooting him? What's killing a child? Right? So just casually, like a total psychopath, justifying the murder of children in America. Right? If it means staying in power, kill kids. If you got to kill the kids for me to stay in power, kill the kids. What do we see with Bibi? What do we see with Bibi Netanyahu, right? Whatever it takes, start a new war, start a second front with a new country, just so long as I can stay in power. Our founding fathers knew about these people. You know what I mean? Like, our founding fathers were well aware of it. They didn't get into the weird sex stuff, though, right? We didn't hear about all that. But that was, we're talking about deviant royal monarchies, right? Who had, they had concubines, underage concubines, half of them, right? Real nasty motherfuckers. They above the law in every way, and they abused power constantly. And the founding fathers were like, we can't even, worship in our own way. We can't think in our own way. We're being taxed to oblivion. And then, you look up, you see the behavior of your leaders, and you're disgusted. horrific, deviant, narcissistic creatures who don't deserve power, don't deserve time. And they have both. Anyway, guess what the solution is? I know, I'm sorry. The solution is actually hanging out all day doing nothing, bruh. Solution's just being a cool dude. Solution's actually being chill as fuck, bruh. Sorry. The solution actually might involve some hard work. I'm sorry. I know. I know. I'm a fucking broken record. Okay, I'll shut up. Out of the fucking blue. Moving on. Out of the goddamn deep blue sea. Raw story. Yes. Head in sand. Bloop. That's what you got to do. Bring a pillow. Lots of naps. That's unironic. Yes. You can still take lots of naps and fight against the fascism. Anyway, out of the goddamn blue, Raw Story TV, all with their 8,000 subscribers. And if you don't know Raw Story, I heavily recommend it. It's my daily, like, it's my version of the Drudge Report. Okay. Like, you know how, like, people go to the Drudge Report, you know, to get the kind of coverage that they want, right? Leans in one direction. As you can see, very Trump focused. I've commented on Raw Story and their goddamn Trump obsession for a little while. But anyway, good website. I like it. So I subscribed to their YouTube channel. Nothing. And then out of the goddamn blue, bloop, little video about another sudden resignation rocks Pete Hegseth's Pentagon. Okay. All right. Is it still one like? It's got to be more than one like. No, I mean, like, nobody, like, yeah, I made a comment, like, nobody is, no, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I think, hopefully, is this AI? Is that what's going on? Just out of the blue, they've activated their YouTube account. All right, let's check it out. Hey, no problem, Kronos. Thank you for visiting. Thank you for viewing. I do appreciate it. Have a good afternoon.
Another sudden resignation rocks Pete Hegseth's Pentagon.
Man, it's got to be AI, right? I'll do it for free. Raw Story. Hit me up, man.
The Pentagon under Secretary Pete Hegseth is seeing yet another key official stepping down. According to Politico, the influential head of the Defense Innovation Unit, the Pentagon's in-house tech incubator, abruptly stepped down on Monday, removing the last high-profile Biden administration holdover at the Defense Department and severing a key link with Silicon Valley.
And then once again, it's like, you should be making them fire you. And then, and once they get rid of you, you should be getting in front of a camera immediately. Are we going to hear from this guy? You know, oh no, I don't want to burn any bridges. They got me. I'm defeated. What happened? What happened to us? Like lambs to the slaughter.
Doug Beck, a former vice president at Apple, said Monday in a goodbye email that it would be his last day, according to two people familiar with the matter.
Oh, this guy?
According to the report, Beck did not provide any reason for his departure. The loss of Beck, who has run the office since 2023 and was key to getting a lot of military skeptical Silicon Valley investors into the fold and pushing for greater innovation and efficiency in the Pentagon comes.
Please. Fuck this fucking careerist handshake glad hander. Fuck this Mitt Romney cosplayer.
Amid a broader house cleaning, as other high-ranking people are either pushed out or leave. Beck's departure comes just days after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth removed 3 top military officials: Defense Intelligence Agency Chief General Jeffrey Cruz, Navy Reserve Chief Vice Admiral Nancy LaCour, and head of Naval Special Warfare Command, Rear Admiral Milton Sands III, noted the report. Meanwhile, Air Force Chief of Staff General David Alvin on Tuesday also announced his surprise retirement, less than halfway into his 4-year term in the service's top military.
So you're going to get in front of a camera, right? You're going to tell us what's going on in there, right? I mean, don't tell me you're just going to go home to your mansion and chill. You know what? Until the fucking Mad Max squad rolls up to your front door? Are you really just going to Really? You know, it's you never if that's what you never deserved leadership. Ask, you know what would Patton do? And Patton was a fucking maniac, don't get me wrong. But when it came to fascism, who was the rightest motherfucker in the room? You know what I mean? Same thing with Churchill, right? It's like, yeah, peacetime, no more Churchill. But he knew exactly what fascism was. And not a single shred of Patton in these guys. I'm not saying they have to go full Patton. But Patton would have gotten in front of a camera. Pete Hegseth giving him the boot. George Patton would have gotten in front of every camera. You couldn't get that guy off Fox News. Okay? Just quietly sit down, get out of the way. I'm flabbergasted and embarrassed that these people are considered leaders. Take your fucking little goofy medals off. Okay? And give them to a fucking hero. Give them to a fucking amputee. Give them to someone who really sacrificed. Goofy ass fucking medals. Look at that shit. What is that, a raft in case the fucking world floods? Embarrassing. Sits down quietly.
Military job. Hegseth's tenure at the Pentagon, which followed a highly...
For this guy, man! For this guy! Come on! Okay, oh yeah, sit down. Sit down for fucking the slick... Come on! That's the strength of these institutions?
Contentious confirmation process that detailed problem drinking and allegations of sexual assault has been rocky. The former Fox News host has pushed several culture wars, even reversing the decisions to take Confederate general names off military.
Oh, shut the fuck up with earn. This guy, what a leader, what a hero. Probably hasn't fired a single fucking shot at the enemy. Collecting medals, sitting on his ass, going up the chain. Probably Ivy League educated from the very fucking beginning. And then does exactly what he's told by a fascist dictatorship. Quietly shuts the fuck up. Even as a civilian, he's going to stay nice and quiet. That's no leader. That's no hero. Doesn't deserve any of those fucking medals. Sat on his ass. A careerist, probably. Climbing the ladder through the military-industrial complex. I don't need to be in the military to know a fucking fraud when I see one. Civilians are allowed to have opinions about the military, jackass. Moving on. Here's what your proud military, here's what Donald Trump is doing to your proud fucking military, you piece of crap. Oh, he earned them. I can't hear you over the fucking enthusiastic blowjob. Are you fucking with me? This is what your fucking president is doing. You shouldn't speak on that. You shouldn't speak on that. Fuck off. I got an opinion. You're going to have to listen to it. You're in here, bitch. You walked through the door. What the fuck did you expect, huh? Coddling? No, I'm not your fucking president. By the way, this is what your president's doing to these fucking troops. Look at this shit. National Guard's tasked with picking up garbage in D.C. Is this what you want to see your military doing? Huh? Picking up garbage? Yeah, keep fucking talking. Get the fuck out of my fucking sight, you piece of crap. How dare you defend oligarchy in my sight? The fuck out of here. Bye. Defending this shit. You don't know the you didn't earn anything. You don't know anything. You weren't in the military. You don't know the art of bootlicking. You should know that bootlicking's heroic. Being a careerist, worming his way through the military-industrial complex without doing a single fucking useful thing is heroic. Didn't you know that? The fuck out of my sight, bootlicker. Lick spittle. More patriotism. Florida deploys police to stare at crosswalks, stopping them from being painted rainbow colors. You don't know what it's like to be on the front lines against the woke mafia. They're using chalk and colors to represent freedom and liberty for all people. We gotta stop it. If we allow gay people to live free, then your kids will be gay. Can't have that. Because we have choices now. If I was a gay person, I would kind of hate being gay because it's like, I can't live free. And I got, I'm being politicized and weaponized. You can't help who you love. So if I was a gay person, I'd kind of, you start to hate yourself. You're like, well, I wish I was straight, right? Because then I'd be on the side that doesn't get harassed, and I could just forget that all this is happening like a straight person can, right? So it must be just absolutely terrible to be a gay person living in this of any type, of any flavor, right? But anyway, here's Florida over here in response. If you don't know what's going on, DeSantis took it upon himself to, paint over the mural that was painted on the crosswalk after the Pulse nightclub massacre, where a closeted gay man, I think from Iran, might have been a citizen, something like that, but classic tale of a self-hating person, I'm not gay, I just like having sex with men, but I'm not gay kind of guy. And he got embarrassed or something. He felt, and this happens, trans people are in danger because this happens to trans people all the time, right? They have sex or they have some kind of sexual interaction. Then, once everybody's calmed down, oh, but I'm not gay. I didn't like it. And I didn't, and then they get angry and then they get violent. It happens probably every day, if you're a trans person, you're trying to date, you're trying to have dates with people. It's something that you're always worried about. And of course, you're also worried about, getting picked up at a bar and then maybe having a fling, and then the fling turns into violence. So that mural, the Pulse nightclub mural, Ron DeSantis, oh, wokeism's dead. We don't have to respect gay people, and them dying isn't tragic. They're monsters. Paints it black. I mean, it couldn't be more appropriate for the time, right? Paints over this beautiful mural to these poor people who were massacred by a bigot. And people have been using chalk to draw it back in, put it back in place. So once again, tyrants, authoritarians, and once again to these cops, huh? I understand the paycheck's good, and sure, it's fun to crack heads, but are you okay with this? I guess they are. Like, yeah, hey, just get the bigots, get the MAGA hat wearers. And by the way, they have MAGA hats at their desk and stuff. These police officers, they have get a personal tour of their personal quarters at the police office. All kinds of Republican paraphernalia, thin blue line shit everywhere. So yeah, get a couple of those guys to patrol this crosswalk, make sure they don't gay it up. So here they are. Your tax dollars at work, folks. To prevent people from drawing rainbows on the street. It costs tens of thousands of dollars to do this per day. Hundreds of thousands, depending on the police force. Might be overtime as well. Money taken directly out of your paycheck for that. Breaking in a shocking upset minutes ago, Democrat Caitlin Dray just flipped in Iowa State Senate seat from red to blue, broke the Iowa's GOP supermajority in the state Senate. This is big fucking news. So we had an early election here. Trump won by 11 points. Okay. This removes the supermajority from the Iowa GOP by 1. So I'm curious what they're going to do, because they could easily, there's probably something that they could do to undermine this. Okay. So that means they no longer have full control over the Senate. Probably doesn't mean much. Probably still going to do everything that they want to do, but it shows us, where people are at, and they're not down with the Republicans, even with all the problems of the neoliberals. There is a certain amount of truth where it's just like, if we just steady course, if we just listen to James Carville and do nothing, there's a very good chance that we'll fly into massive midterm success. That is true. But it's also, as I said when Biden won, I said, the neoliberal establishment is learning all the wrong lessons. Because it's like, oh, okay, great. We just do nothing. We put our candidate in a fucking locker, and we just have a robot come out there and just repeat the same talking points over and over and over again. vagaries about building back and better and whatever, and just ride our way till we win. No problem. We make no promises to the American people. We do negative populism. We set expectations to the point where it's like you basically expect nothing to change. Remember Joe Biden said that. Don't worry, nothing's going to change. You're good to go. Aviators. Yeah, he sounds like Donald Trump. Everyone's Donald Trump now. I have Trump derangement syndrome. So like, you know, when I make fun of my wife, it's just the Trump everything. No, that would be TDS. Like everyone's Trump. It's like being John Malkovich. That scene. Gavin Newsom, you know, once again, I'd like to point out, look, they have the resources. How come there isn't, you know, how come this isn't like most Democratic politicians? You know, how come there isn't a person in the Democratic Party responsible for doing this 24/7? Seneca, absolutely kudos, right? But anyway, here's Gavin Newsom doing stuff that, frankly, we should have been seeing since well before 2016. But here he is, Fox News refusing to report this. Louisiana's murder rate's nearly 4 times as higher than California's. Right. Donald Trump calling Chicago a killing field. You know, Donald Trump saying, the trash, we're going to scrape it clean. You know, terrible hellhole, you're going to die immediately. Meanwhile, Republican states, you're much more likely to get murdered. Memphis murder rate is double Oakland's. And that's crazy, dude, because Oakland's kind of a spooky place sometimes. I had a buddy, saw somebody get his fucking leg shotgunned right off his knee, right? Some kind of drug deal thing, right? He wasn't paying or something. Dude was he told me, he's like, guy was in a black trench coat. The other guy was kind of a crackhead or something. They were screaming at each other. The guy in the black trench coat pulls out a fucking shotgun, blows the dude's leg off, and then walks away. So that shit went down in the streets of Oakland, and it's worse in Memphis. What the fuck is going down in Memphis, man? It's probably only a matter of time before these Republicans start saying, oh, well, that's just because those are the black people in our state. That white people don't do that to each other. It's just the black people. It's probably only a matter of time before they start saying stuff like that. You know, we gotta kick it up a notch and really just, get rid of all people of color, even if they're legal citizens, right? Like, it's been such a success with this immigration thing, kicking people off into Uganda, It's been such a success. They'll just lie to us. So it's really only a matter of time before they say, oh, yeah, well, the reason why the murder rate's so high is because black people live there. Of course, we know white people engage in all that kind of gang shit, too, all the time. Louisiana's murder rate's nearly 3 times higher than LA's. Fox News, when will you cover Mike Johnson's failure? Same story here, right? LA could be Compton's still Compton, dude. Okay, you're not like, I'm not saying it's a guarantee you're going to get jacked or anything, but there'll be people checking you out. Like, who's this guy, right? You will be scoped out. You're walking through Compton. Jackson murders declined by nearly 45% amid varying JPD Capitol Police homicide trends. Facts you won't see on Fox News: Mississippi's murder rate's 266% higher than California's. Hey, greetings to south of Boston. I got about 10 more minutes before I got to go, but it's your boy Lenny. Hashtag more Lenny. Make sure you're clicking follow on that Lenny, boys and goyles and theys and thems. But anyway, if you've seen this guy, this double chin son of a bitch right here, wildly ignorant, intentionally ignorant, lovingly ignorant, bootlicker for Donald Trump, happy to put an official face on fascism. And he has the gall, of course, to say, California's a hellhole, it's the worst place, you're going to get mugged everywhere you go. Meanwhile, you're way more likely to get murdered in his state. Way more likely. The numbers really make you think, like, Jesus, what the fuck's going on down there? And it's like, yeah, man, you ever seen an episode of Cops? Right? Ever seen that shit? Deep Mississippi? Shit goes down every single night. Here is a devastating example of Donald Trump's tariffs. So, certain tariffs are hitting certain industries incredibly hard. One industry that is getting absolutely decimated right now is oranges, orange juice. insert your Trading Places comments here. But here's what it looks like. Hundreds and hundreds of tons of picked, delicious, ready to sell oranges intentionally dumped in the field to rot because it's more expensive to sell them than it is to dump them. This is why farmers do that, right? Why would I, why? I'm already losing money. Why would I lose more money just to bring this to market and lose more money, right? It's like this is the smart thing to do for the farmer, and this is what this is Trump economics right here. This was predicted. This was stone cold predicted.
People are wondering what's happened to the food, why it's so expensive. Here it is on the side of the road. Free oranges.
No. The farmer doesn't want to do this. The farmer would prefer to make a profit. Okay, but who'd the farmer vote for? Right. I hope the oranges rotting remind the farmer of Donald Trump's face. And of course there's a small chance that the farmer didn't vote for Trump. So, don't mean to denigrate here, but honestly, I hope every time there's a high likelihood that this farmer voted Trump. And I honestly hope that every time they look at a pile of rotting oranges, it reminds them of the orange face of Donald Trump. Or Cracker Barrel JD in the bottom right there. Yeah, Tegrity. Tegrity was profitable. Okay, they were making a lot of money. In your fucking Tesla. In your fucking Tesla. This country, I'm not going to say it's doomed, but we are in trouble, folks. Yeah, Seneca. Yeah, that's a good idea, right? Well, that would cost them even more. But French farmers do that, right? They bring their manure and, they bring their shit up. Indian farmers do that. You want to... I'm going to show some pornography right now. You guys okay with that? Can I show some hardcore pornography right now? I got a clip here from Pornhub. I want to show everybody. I'm a bit of a sick fuck. I watch the sick stuff. Okay. Really gross stuff, right? Can't help myself. I'm a big fan of this other completely sick, deranged, sexual deviant, couch lover. Huge fan of his content. He put this video out, and after a sweaty sesh, I said, fuck it. I'm going to get banned today. Fuck this shit. I got 5 minutes left of the stream. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say the word. Just kidding, B-Ree, if you're still here. But no, let's get banned today. I'm going to show you some disgusting, submissive, throat goat level pornography, okay? Look away if you can't handle it. Fuck this shit. We're getting banned today, boys. We're doing it. Watch this. Watch this. Whip it out and watch this.
Led by Stephen Miller. They have been amazing to work with.
Disgusting.
I was just in Iowa with Administrator Loeffler, who made an announcement with Secretary Rollins.
This man has a mother, okay? Think about that.
To reverse the deratement on diesel exhaust fluid systems.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Mr. President, you said you wanted water flowing faster. Working with the Secretary of Energy, we've done our part to do that, to get
He's
gas
got a
cans
smile on his
faster,
face.
to stop that annoying start-stop feature in vehicles.
I think he likes it. Oh, my God.
Mr. VP, would you like to say something?
Yes, sir. I'll be brief, but I want to congratulate you and the entire team on all the things that have been accomplished. You'll hear about a lot of it. You've already heard some of it, but I thought it would be helpful, Mr. President, just to take stock, not just of what we've accomplished, what we will accomplish, but of the mess that we inherited, because I think it makes this first Labor Day a bigger and more special occasion.
Scott?
Sir, as we've said very often, economic security is national security, and our country has never been so secure thanks to you.
I've never seen anything like this.
You have the overwhelming mandate.
Am I banned? Have I been banned? Am I banned yet? Oh, gross, dude.
From the American people, you're restoring confidence in government. One's mind, the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve's independence comes from a political arrangement between itself
I don't
and the
care
American
about
public.
Cracker fucking
Having
Barrel.
the public's trust is the only thing that gives it credibility, and you, sir, are restoring trust to government.
And we hope to settle them before the end of this year. Your team is nothing short of incredible. And there's only one thing I wish for.
Oh, God.
That Noble Committee
I can't get this
finally
images
gets its
out of my
act together
head.
and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since this Nobel Award was ever talked about.
I'm gonna
receive that reward. Beyond your success is game changing out in the world today, and I hope everybody one day wakes up and realizes that.
Okay, I'm just kidding. So there you go. Thought we'd end the stream with some hardcore pornography. Not banned yet. Could you imagine the smell? You gotta hose it down. Okay, you get the joke. That's all I got time. I gotta go pick up my fucking kid. That's all I got time for. Sorry. I love my child. We do physical therapy as soon as we get home. I get them out of daycare early so that we have a full physical therapy regime that we follow. So hope you enjoyed it, folks. It's been the News Underground. I'm Abandoned Nihilism, the realest motherfucker on Twitch. Hope you enjoyed it. That's how the underground does news. Scattershot, stoned, weird, sweaty. That's how I like it. Folks, you might have heard me mention that the only solution to our problems is in fact nonviolent direct political action. We must embrace activism to create change. That's right, nonviolent direct political action. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, in fact. Step 1, we inform ourselves. Step 2, we sign up and show up. Step 3, we put in the work. We turn this shit into a lifestyle. We ask ourselves, what are we doing for the movement to create political change? That's what the News Underground's about. It's been an absolute pleasure to have every single one of you here. Seneca, Lenny, Good Guy Dari, coming in at the end. Bound, Grin. Who else we got on this list? Every lurker, by the way. Every lurker. You're my buddy. Kronos. Big props to Kronos. Tisriel, our friend from Ukraine. You know what? Next stream, we're doing Ukraine first. We got to update on Ukraine. Some big movements happening over there. Simply Steve, big props. Trailhead, thank you so much for coming back. Always lovely to see you. German Cow, big props, German Cow. John Axel, OG John Axel, thank you for coming back. Big props. Nova Rider. Thank you, Nova Rider. Big props, big props. Female Eunuchs. Hey, Female Eunuchs, if you're still here, give me a Jeff Bezos. We didn't have Jeff all day. I'm missing old Jeffy baby. Krayla Xanath, big props. Krayla Xanath. I forgot to say hello to Online Chris. Thank you, Online Chris. Big props to Bound once again. Bound, if I didn't give you props before, big props to you. Big props to the fascists and weirdos on DLive and Kick. Thank you for coming in and making our lives more difficult. Appreciate it. Blessed Up Kid, big props to you. Blessed Up. Thank you for coming back. Regulators in the chat. Best chat on Twitch. Blop. Best chat on Twitch. Big props to B-Ree. Thank you, B-Ree, for sticking around as long as you did. Thank you for coming in. Always love your opinion. Big props to every single fucking motherfucking one of you. Big props to HP Shorty over here. Greatest hits. That's it. That's all I got. Sorry. Bye. Bye-bye.